This is Surrey County Cricket Club. Born in a tavern in 1845. The symbol of Kennington, we've seen London grow around us. Cricket's original champions, as Charles Alcock brought his vision to life and we cemented a reputation as a place of firsts. International football, FA Cup finals, international rugby, test matches, as well as where English pride came to die, before a great rivalry was born from its ashes. We share our feathers with royalty and pass on the honour of the brown cap through generations. We've seen England's best spend their careers with us.
Well, that's Jack Hobbs. Head and shoulders, yes, over all other living batsmen.
And the game's best finish under our gasometer. We've won 7 in a row thanks to Surridge, May, Barrington, Locke, Laker and the Bedser twins. In fact, we're well known for our famous siblings, but there's always been one family who've stood out. We saw the West Indies grip a nation on our doorstep, and a pioneer set records galore in the women's game. The end of the century brought a fresh take on Ik Dien, as Holyoake and his England teammates transformed us on the pitch. The changing of the oval skyline brought the greatest of finales.
There it is. England have regained the Ashes.
And an era of final test triumphs.
Alistair Cook has done it. A century in his last. Well played.
On our way to our own red ball century. We're one half of the game's oldest rivalry and its only London derby.
Oh my! Can you clear the pavilion?
Local players are always the lifeblood of our side. But the world's best are attracted to us too. We've come through tragedies. Now we're home to world champions and cricketers of the year. 175 years have passed. There's much more to come. This is Surrey County Cricket Club, heart of London, pride of the county, the grandest stage in world cricket.
Hello and welcome to the Kia Oval for our live stream coverage of Surrey against Somerset, game 7 of 11 in the South Group of the Vitality Blast 2021. As far as this group is concerned, well, it's really shaping up now as we head towards the business end of the group stage. Surrey are currently third, 2 points behind the leaders Kent, who have played a game more, but also 2 points clear of 5th place Glamorgan, who've also played a game more. Coming up, before we get underway with this match, we're going to be hearing from the T20 captain here at the Kia Oval, Gareth Batty. We're going to be showing you highlights of the 2019 meeting here between Surrey and Somerset, and also looking at Somerset's last completed game, which was a comfortable victory over Kent. Plus, we'll be joined live by the Academy Director of Surrey County Cricket Club, Gareth Townsend, here in the 1845 stand. The toss and the team news will come very, very shortly. The game to start at 6:30, and well, the good news is the sun has been out today, dry as a bone, and that is a sight for sore eyes here in South London because of the washouts that we've had. Of course, we started off the group with 3 straight wins, then the 2 no results, only 5 overs possible against the Sussex Sharks, not a single ball bowled against the Hampshire Hawks, and then finally the first defeat of Surrey's campaign inflicted by the Essex Eagles just a couple of days ago. Surrey were put in that game. Essex bowled beautifully and they got rid of Amler, Jacks and Burns very cheaply indeed, and despite a run of ball 30 from Jordan Clark and an excellent 28 off 22 balls on his senior debut by 19-year-old Ben Geddes, well, Surrey were all out for 118, and in truth Essex chased that down very comfortably. They were 48 without loss after the power play. They put on 67 before the first wicket fell at the end of the 8th over. A super Ricky Clark catch to dismiss Adam Wheaton, but that was really as good as it got for Surrey, and that was all that there was to cheer. Essex reaching their target with 9 balls to spare. So let's show you the highlights first of all from that game here at the Kia Oval a couple of nights ago.
And Amler's on strike, Nidjo around the wicket to him. Amler drives, has gone, first ball straight in to extra cover. What a start that.
Well, it's Dan Lawrence opening the bowling. Spin at both ends. He bowls short. This is pulled into the leg side, and he's been caught. He's been caught by Michael Pepper. You see on the 30-metre circle, Lawrence in again. Short forced into the offside. Beautifully executed. Gave himself a bit of room. He saw the ball on the length.
Nidjar, round the wicket he comes to Smith. That short pull by Smith into the Peter May stand for our first 6 of the evening.
The Vauxhall end, he bowls. It's played into the leg side, down to a vacant fine leg. It might run away for 4, and it does. Right arm over the wicket, he bowls, and he's bowled him, clean bowled him. It's hit the sort of top and middle, I reckon, and I have to say that I think Smith wasn't quite forward.
Last 2 games here. Snater then, right arm over the wicket he comes, and driving his getters. Nice looking shot this. Run away through backward point. That's going to run away.
Getting to the crease, to Rory Burns, who pulls it in the air. It just goes, oh, it hasn't gone over the head. It's been caught by Ryan Tenduscarter.
Slater is over the wicket to Jordan Clark, and this is swung high in the air by Jordan Clark for 6, over mid-wicket into the Peter May stand. He's a strong old boy, is Jordan Clark. As Snater, over the wicket he comes. It's another short one, pulled again by Jordan Clark for 4 more. Well, he's not learning, and look at Harmer.
As Nidjar again comes in straight then around the wicket, in bowls, and that's high, and it's going to be safe out towards the extra cover boundary, and better than that, it's going to be 4 runs. 4 runs for Clark. Nidjar again coming in, he's bowling from the pavilion end. That's the end away from us at the moment. This is aerial. Has it been well placed? It looks as if it could have been. Yes, it is. It's a 4 with 1 bounce. This moves to 28 not out. Next delivery, tries to use his feet, and that will be a stumping. He went down to it, missed it, and therefore no way back. He'd lost his balance, couldn't get back. Well,
over the wicket, he's bowling to Overton, who's gone, I believe. He's been given out.
Snater, in over the wicket he comes, and Jordan Clark has slammed this one straight down the ground, and Harmer takes a great catch down there at long off.
Right.
In over the wicket comes Snater once again, and Clark's shot just opens the face and guides this one past backward point and away for 4.
For a number of clubs, but back here at his home now at Surrey. Reverse sweep, there's an LBW appeal, and it's been given. So far, Surrey. Harmer bowls. This is slog swept beautifully for 4. 1 bounce. Okay, it's the short boundary, but let me tell you, he hit it like a bullet.
Until you get him out, the game's not over. All bowled is Gareth Batty.
Yorker.
Good bit of bowling from Sam Cook. Got it right up there. As over the wicket once again comes Cook, and Jay Dernbach swinging, hits the front pad, gone LBW.
Moriarty, left arm round the wicket from the pavilion end bowls. This is slapped into the stand. Slog swept by Buttleman, and
with Rory Burns out there.
12 yards in.
As Butterman goes down the ground, that's a great shot. It really is. Lovely use of the feet, and then driven. As round the wicket once again goes Jackson, shot from Wheater. Lovely use of the feet, and then straight back over the top of Will Jacks.
Clark in bowls. This is into the offside. It goes over extra cover, and I think it's Gareth Batty who is it Gamble? Not worth playing.
Jay Dernbach's in again. He backs away to a slower ball, and that's well played. Cuts it from the top of his off stump, Buttleman, past Morris. The Essex Eagles, as Dernbach is over the wicket once again to Buttleman. That's short, and this will be cut for 4 more. Short and wide from Jay Dernbach.
As I say, Surrey been a little bit disrupted one way or another in the last few days and nights, and this one is reversed very fine. Dernbach will get those long, tall legs pumping, but he can't get to that before it crosses the boundary. Places himself down here at sort of gully area, backward point, and this one is driven. Well stopped. Very good stop and fielding there from Ricky Clark, I think that is, out there at extra cover. In fact, he's caught it. I thought that had actually bounced into the ground. Well, not only is it's a sensational catch. Clark in now, bowls, creates a bit of room, and we may see a boundary here, will we? I'm not too sure. Overton's going to try and cut it off. A boundary, no. And Clark in again, bowled him. Well, the only naughty thing about that is he's just stood right across his stumps and said, here are 3 of them, do you want to hit them?
Buttleman gave himself a bit of room. Moriarty again bowls a little bit of room into the leg side. There's going to be 1, 2. In fact, it's going to go for. Well, I need an interview first, as this is a wide as well, I think, and it's signalled wide. Yes, there it is. Game is over. It's a double sort of bounce outside of the track.
I'm joined live now by the Surrey Academy Director, Gareth Towns. We'll be speaking to Gareth in just a moment, but let's just update you on the result of the toss and indeed the team news. Well, Surrey have lost the toss and they will be batting first. They have been put in by Somerset. And as far as the team news is concerned, a couple of changes for Surrey. Laurie Evans is back. You might remember he missed out in the last game because of a stomach bug. He was unwell. So he comes in, Hashim Amla makes way, and Ricky Clark, who sustained a shoulder injury in Monday's game against Essex. You've just seen Gus Atkinson is his replacement. So the batting order, we think, might look something like this. Will Jacks, Jamie Smith, Laurie Evans, Rory Burns, Ben Geddes, Jordan Clark, Jamie Overton, Gus Atkinson, Gareth Batty, Dan Moriarty and Jade Dernbach. And we'll tell you the Somerset team news in a moment. Also, just to let you know, wherever you're watching in the world, whether it is on keeroval.com or YouTube or Facebook, you're more than welcome. It's great to have your company. Just to let you know as well, if you want to watch Surrey women taking on Middlesex women in the London Cup T20, that is live on Middlesex's YouTube channel. So if you want to, just flick over there from time to time. But do stay with us here on Surrey's YouTube channel and Facebook page. So Gareth, first of all, let's just reflect on that game on Monday. I mean, Mark Church, our commentator, said it was just a bad night at the office. Is that how you saw it? It just simply didn't happen for Surrey.
Well, we'll obviously put it down to that. Surrey didn't get their game together. They didn't start well, lost 4 wickets in that first power play, and if you lose wickets at the top of those games, you end up losing the match. I think they would have had a rethink on how they're going to play. They've lost their international players, and I think they will have to look at maybe playing in a slightly different way, and that will hopefully be seen tonight when we play up against Somerset.
And what about Ben Geddes? Because he was thrown in at the last minute with Laurie's illness, let's say. 28 off 22 balls for a 19-year-old. How do you feel that he acquitted himself?
I think he did brilliantly. Ben's been playing well in the second team, been striking the ball well in those 2020 games we played in the twos. He came out on his debut, and I thought he looked at home. Was very positive, and I'd like to see more of what he's doing tonight.
Just tell us what it's like when you get someone who comes in at such a young age. I think you first represented Surrey at under 9s, and you will have seen his development over that time, over that decade. How do you handle someone like that at that age, and how do you strategise to eventually see them representing the senior men's team here?
I find it quite amazing that the young players we have historically have come through. A lot of them have made their debuts in the 2020. Jamie Smith did, Jason Roy did, in front of big crowds, and it is amazing how for young men they go out in that environment, in that atmosphere, and they just look at home. And I think it's a great testament to them as individuals, the programme that they come through, but their composure and assurity in handling the situation does amaze me. There's no kind of dress rehearsal for that. I think we train them hard, we put them under pressure in their kind of programs, but they come out here and express themselves, and I think they've looked at home straight away.
It's interesting, isn't it? We've got a clash of 2 teams here that have got very strong academies, links with school. Millfield School, of course, for Somerset. We've got some interesting players in their lineup as well, notably, of course, Tom Banton, who's made such an impact early on in his career, but also Lewis Goldsworthy, and not only those two, but you've got plenty more that have come through. You know, the likes of Ben Green as well, he's been playing well, he's been getting runs and also taking wickets. But let's look at our opponents in a little bit more detail. After a couple of losses to start off their group stage, they finally got a win against, well, the South Group leaders, Kent, and in that game they racked up 204 for 7, having been put in by Kent, largely thanks to 68 off 33 by Tom Abel, who's, by the way, injured for this game here today, and 48 off 29 from the 20-year-old Lewis Goldsworthy. They put on 90 runs for the 4th wicket, and in reply they managed to get rid of Daniel Bond-Drummond and Joe Denley very cheaply indeed. Zach Crawley did make 48 off 23, but he was one of 2 wickets for Max Waller, and once he went, well, really, that was that, and Kent didn't really get much further. Marchand de Langer also really got tucked into that Kent middle order. Kent all out for 157. So Somerset victorious in the end by 47 runs. Here's the highlights of that game at Taunton last Tuesday.
Somerset kick-started their T20 Blast campaign with an all-round fine performance at Taunton, where they defeated Kent by 47 runs. Put into bat, Tom Banton smacked the second ball of the match over the rope, a glorious stroke so early in the piece. Somerset have certainly entertained in the power play so far in this tournament, and this was no different. James Hildreth launching into almost everything. Both of these strokes going all the way as Somerset took 33 runs off the first 3 overs. But again, they lost early wickets. Banton was the first out for 9, holding out off Grant Stewart. The next over saw the demise of Will Smead for 7. A low full toss from Matt Milnes mean the timing was off as the batsman was held in the covers by Joe Denley. Somerset settled for a score of 52 for 2 from the power play, but then immediately lost Hildreth for 27, perhaps not fully going through with a shot off Denley to be held in the deep. It was again left to the middle order to see out the lion's share of the innings. Lewis Goldsworthy enjoyed his return to the side with some smart cricket, aided by Tom Abel, who yet again took charge of the innings when it was required. His role at number 4 has become so important in this format. He and his young partner took the total to 90 for 3 at the halfway stage. Abel then picked up the pace with a couple of maximums, this one off Darren Stevens having him close in on another T20 half-century, which duly arrived in the next over, the 13th, his latest 50 occupying 26 balls, a knock including 5 fours and 2 sixes, which had now given his side a chance of posting a challenging score. And that in fact was a certainty, with Abel clearing the rope again off Stevens to move on to a thoroughly entertaining 68. But there his innings was ended as he tried to go large again, but this time picked out Milnes. Abel's partnership with Goldsworthy for the 4th wicket was worth 90, made in 7.5 overs. 5 overs to go and the total read 154 for 4. Goldsworthy now being joined by fellow Lewis Gregory, these two picking up where Abel left off. Gregory departed for 13, clubbing a pull to Jack Leaning, he leaving with his side on 176 for 5, with 20 balls of the innings remaining. Just before they achieved that, Ben Green gave Leaning a 3rd catch in the deep, but Somerset were able to get to a challenging 204 for 7 against this dangerous Kent outfit. The home side then made a brilliant start with the ball. Craig Overton struck with his 4th delivery to remove Daniel Bell-Drummond, Green with the catch off a thick outside edge to get Somerset cracking. Josh Davey also tasted success in his first over, Denley offering Gregory an easy chance to put his side in the box seat. Kent on 14 for 2 after 2, the perfect start for the hosts. Zach Crawley, back from England duty, seemed to enjoy the freedom away from Test cricket, and in successive balls sent deliveries from Overton over the rope, and the Spitfires got to 56 for 2 at the end of their 6 overs of power play. But Somerset began to take control soon after. Goldsworthy came on to bowl and struck in his first over, Sam Billings stumping a drag down straight to Abel in the deep. And that was followed by a peach from Max Waller, which bamboozled Crawley to see him on his way for 48. Kent left on 73 for 4 after 8. Leaning has been in fine form, so his wicket was of huge importance. Banton behind the stumps giving Waller something else to be happy with. And when Stevens edged Marchant de Lange to Davey at 3rd man to go for a dozen, Somerset were as good as over the winning line at the 3rd time of asking. De Lange struck again a Stewart top edge to Banton, that leaving the Spitfires almost out of gas on 114 for 7. It was now all going right for Somerset. Hildreth picked up the ball at short fine leg and threw down the stumps at the non-striker's end to run out Ahmed, while Jordan Cox fell at the start of the 17th over, giving De Lange his 3rd wicket and just about wrapping things up. The bowler ended with 3 for 18 from 3 overs, his last one not needed as Fred Clarkson was run out by Green coming back for a 2nd, which was futile in any case. This had been a hammering in the end as Kent were dismissed for 157 with 2 overs not required. So Somerset took the game by 47 runs to get their campaign moving in the right direction. They head next to Hove to harpoon the Sharks, we hope, on Friday.
So that was Somerset's sole victory so far in 5 games in the group stage in the South Group of the Vitality Blast. They started off with 2 defeats, and since that win, well, they've had even more rain than we have, Gareth, because they've had 2 games completely washed out, not a single ball bowled against Gloucestershire and also against Glamorgan. Their team, they made 2 changes from the last game that was completed, and that was that one that you just saw there against Kent last Tuesday at Taunton. Tom Lammonby comes in for Tom Abel, who had a really unfortunate hamstring injury in the warm-up for a game they didn't even play against Glamorgan, so that's why Abel is missing out on this one. No Marchand de Lange, so Jack Leach makes his T20 debut. This is the team in full. Tom Banton, James Hildreth, Will Smee, Tom Lammonby, Lewis Goldsworthy, also Lewis Gregory, Ben Green, Craig Overton, of course, twin brother of Surrey's Jamie, also Josh Davey, Jack Leach and Max Waller. Talk to us about Jack Leach making his T20 debut. That'll be fascinating, won't it, Gareth?
Well, it's an amazing thing. I didn't actually realise it at the time, but of a player of that quality, not having played this format, but considering the conditions of the pitch, which will probably take some spin, the big boundaries, it's probably a good move. He is a very talented, skilled bowler, and Surrey will have to be watchful for him.
Well, we know with Jacks, Moriarty and Batty, we're likely to see 12 overs of spin, used middle strip, big boundaries. It's a tactic that we've come to know and love, especially when we were on that winning run last year. What about Tom Abel missing out for this game? That's huge for them, isn't he? 260-odd scores for Somerset in their last 2 completed games.
Yeah, Abel's been a big part of Somerset over the last few years in all formats. He offers a huge amount in terms of leadership, let alone his batting and bowling. So how they cope without him will be probably asking a lot for Lewis Gregory to step in and kind of take over that mantle. But they'll miss Abel, and hopefully Surrey can capitalise on that.
In contrast, a man who hasn't been in the runs, 28 runs in 3 knocks, is Tom Banton. Is the danger here that he's actually due a score?
Well, you mentioned that, didn't you? And fingers crossed, no. For the people watching, yes, because he's a very talented player, hits the ball brilliantly. And Surrey will have to be mindful of how he approaches those first 6 overs. If he comes off and gets going, then the run rate's going to shoot through the roof.
Now, we know that you, Gareth, are a West Country man yourself, in terms of the part of the world that you grew up in, and they've got some young talents too, and we know that you're interested in just those developing talents in the game. Lewis Goldsworthy and also Ben Green, who's been in the runs as well as taking a few wickets, and Lewis, who's played for England under-19s before as well. Talk to us about those two and what you like about those young cricketers.
Well, yeah, first of all, they do a really good job down at Taunton in terms of producing the talent from not only Somerset, they get quite a few coming in from Devon, and there's a great relationship there. So they're they should be very proud of what they do in terms of homegrown players, as much as we are as well. Ben Green is a talented ball striker and obviously offers with the ball, so he will be an important part of tonight's programme for them. Lewis Goldsworthy, I've seen quite a bit of him coming through the age groups. He is a talented batsman, and also can bowl some left-arm spin. So, those two will be players that will be forming part of Somerset's future 2020 team.
A number of milestones that were being accomplished today. One which really struck me, which is James Hildreth making his 200th T20 appearance. And remember, he hasn't played franchise cricket abroad. These have all come domestically. And for a man who's always been known traditionally more first off as a red ball cricketer, what about that for an achievement?
Well, it's amazing. 200 2020 games. He's hugely underrated. Never to play international cricket, and as you say, franchise cricket. He's a very had a successful career so far, hugely respected and still going strong. So, take your hat off to him.
Just also to mention a clash of brothers that we are going to see today. It didn't happen in the championship game earlier on in the season, but we know it will happen today. Whether one will bowl at the other or not, we'll find out. More likely that Craig bowls to Jamie than Jamie bowls to Craig Overton, but they are both in the 11s for their respective sides. Can I just put a little scenario to you here? Surrey have been put in. Start off top of the order with Jamie Overton, who we know can throw a bat around, and so Somerset maybe feel compelled to throw Craig Overton the ball. What would you make of that prospect?
I think it'd be quite interesting. I think it'd be brilliant. I think Jamie's role for us will be coming in later. He could easily open the batting and go for it, and he'll
He's hit some valuable quick runs in this format,
exactly,
hasn't he?
And I think we'll rely on him to do that today, the way they've tactically set up, but it would be a great contest between the two. Well,
I mentioned milestones. Will Jack's incredible, even still so young. He's making his 50th T20 appearance, and one man who's just one away from 150 T20 wickets is Gareth Batty. Let's hear from him. He's been speaking pre-match to Mark Church.
Well, Gareth Batty, first thing I have to say, it is very good to see you, my friend. It seems like months and months and months since I've seen you. How are you?
Very good, thank you, Churchy. It is. It's been too long, hasn't it? This COVID stuff that we've all been going through has been very disjointing to the whole process and not seeing people. But let's hope we're through the worst of it now, and we can move on and get out onto the field and keep playing some more cricket.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the weather tonight, it feels a bit more like cricket weather because of what's been going on over the last sort of 3 games. You must be very pleased with the way you started. Those opening 3 games, very, very good performances from the team, weren't they?
Yeah, it was, and it's the brand of cricket we wanted to play early on, with having Jason and the 2 Currans. Unfortunate for Toppers and Folksy and some of the boys who've got injuries, but having the boys who've been travelling around the world, performing on the international stage back, but then putting in the performances with the boys that have been here has been quite brilliant, and it just shows how we're trying to evolve the game and trying to take it forward, be better than we were last year. And I think we put in very good performances. And I was saying to the boys, I still think we can be 5-10% better, which when we're talking about elite sport at the high end, that's a huge margin, which hopefully shows the growth that we can have within this group.
Speaking to Vikram after the game against Essex, he was very honest as always and said, we just didn't think on our feet quick enough, really. He said when we batted, we needed more runs, obviously, but we didn't adapt to what was in front of us. Would that be, in a way, obviously you don't want to lose games of cricket, but they always talk about good learnings, don't they? You take something out of that from what Vikram said and you as captain? Absolutely.
I take full responsibility on the field. We didn't adapt like Vikram suggested, but also I think before we walked on the field, we were playing a very nice brand of cricket, really aggressive, really positive, and we had personnel change. I think there were 4 changes, and we didn't fully address how we were going to get the outcome that we had been getting with the different personnel that had come in. Yeah. And that is something that we've looked at. We're still looking for those outcomes. We're still looking for that kind of performance, but how we go about it needs to be different. We have to be smarter. And all these buzzwords that come around 2020 cricket, you've still got to be brave. Whether you're a guy that reverse sweeps and goes over the keeper, or whether you're a guy that hits row Z, you have to be brave. And we just need to be a bit clever about how we put and use people within situations. So I take full responsibility on the field that we missed a beat there, but it was on the back of great performances going into it, and I was sluggish to react to that and address how we needed to change.
How much are you enjoying it still, Mr. Batty? And I'm not going to ask you about you personally. I'll talk about your bowling, but you personally. But what I mean by that is, there we go. We've been using all these buzzwords, my friend, in this interview already, haven't we? Learnings. I keep hearing about matchups, mate. I thought that was a dating show or something. But for you, you've played since the start of this thing. How much are you enjoying it? Because as you say, there's still things going on which are new to everybody, aren't there?
I think every year, from last year to this year, I think the game has gone up again. I think the T20 Blast is the one thing in county cricket that has been evolving, and it's almost been that slow burner because we all talk about IPL or this or that. It's gone under the radar, and I think that's wrong, because you look at skill sets from all of the counties, not just us. Boys are hitting the ball harder, they're hitting awkward areas, bowlers are coming up with different things. It's exciting. It really is. It's a real shame we're not allowed more people in to see how the game is evolving. Because just on the last 18 months of 2020 cricket that I've played, it's evolved as much as at any other period throughout, from 2003, I think it was, that we started. And I think it's exciting. If an old man can be excited about it out on the field and trying to improve and add, well, you know, what isn't there to love about our great game in this country in 2020 cricket? I really do feel this country is on the cusp of really taking cricket to all new levels, and it's exciting to still, as an old man, be this sort of part of it.
Well, look, the old man still got it. You bowled beautifully so far in the comp. I think I even saw the Zuta coming out at one point. And, great control with everything. How much are you sort of loving being out there in the middle and still doing your job, my friend?
The one thing I do know from age, the one thing I'll never be able to replace is playing out there and being part of that 11, part of the club, trying to win games of cricket. The buzz, the excitement, the challenge, you can't replace with anything else. And I can say that because I was very lucky at the start of the year to be running the second team and being involved with that, and it's brilliant. It really is great. But I'll say to all those youngsters that have been performing there is nothing like being out there. Yes, it scratches my itch with the coach, and then it's brilliant. But wow, there's nothing like being out there playing. So as long as I possibly can and my skills are up to it, I'll keep going. But I'm not just overkilling it because we're doing an interview. I'm really excited about where this format of the game, the T20 Blast, is going at the minute.
Yeah, absolutely. Final question. Somerset tonight, obviously you did a pretty good job on them at Taunton, but they've got some pretty good players in there. You'll have to be at your best tonight, won't you?
Yeah, they're dangerous. First and foremost, their captain springs to mind, Lewis Gregory. I think he's a fine cricketer. He'll be hurting that he's not in those England squads, so he'll have a point to prove. Everybody seems to come to the Oval, Kia Oval, and want to prove that point. So it's a big stage for people. So we need to be smart about how we go about our business. But we need a good correction from the other night because we weren't quite where we needed to be. The boys have recognised that. It's certainly not taken a negative approach. It's been really positive still. But being smart with that positivity and let's get over the line tonight.
Terrific, my friend. Absolute joy to see you. I'm sorry it's 800 yards away, but fingers crossed to see you in person very, very soon and go well tonight.
Fingers crossed, buddy.
We're just 5 minutes or so away from the start of the game. Surrey against Somerset in the South Group of the Vitality Blast. And just another reminder that Surrey women are playing Middlesex women in the London Cup T20 game at Radlett, and you can see that on Middlesex's YouTube channel right now. Let's just remind you of what's happened in terms of the toss and the team news. So the toss was lost by Surrey. They've been put in by Somerset, so they will be batting first. A couple of changes made by Vikram Solanki and co, and he decided to put in Laurie Evans, who returns after his illness, Hashim Amla making way, and Ricky Clark, who's got a shoulder injury after Monday's defeat to Essex, and Gus Atkinson replaces him. So it is Jacks, Smith, Evans, Burns, Geddes, Clark, Overton, Atkinson, Batty, Moriarty and Dernbach. And also the Somerset players are as follows: Banton, Hildreth, Smead, Lammonby, who's in for Tom Abel, who has had a hamstring injury, Goldsworthy, Gregory, Green, Craig Overton, Josh Davey, Jack Leach, who makes his T20 debut, no Marshawn DeLanger for Somerset today, and Max Waller. Gareth Townsend, just before we hand over to the commentary, you mentioned before that with the team changes that Surrey have made, that they may need to approach this differently. Just unpack that for us. What does that mean?
Well, I think we had obviously Jason Roy and Sam Curran playing in the previous few games with great success with Will Jacks. With those players, 2 players missing, I think in terms of our batting approach, we will be not necessarily cautious, but a little bit more conservative in how we approach the first few overs. We'll want to take our innings deep, probably not lose too many wickets up front, and I think the main thing is they'll be looking to have a big go at the end, so they want to knock it around in the middle and maybe go back to a little bit of how we played last year. So hard up front, knock it around, and then leave Overton, Clark, etc. to come in at the end and try and smash it. But they'll want wickets in hand at the end.
Well, it could be an absolutely crucial game. Remember, there are only 3 games left after this in the South Group. Surrey lose this and it really bunches up, but Surrey win, they go top of the group. Enjoy the game in the company of Anthony Gibson and Mark Church.
Young Cornishman, Lewis Gregory, the captain, Craig Overton, Ben Green, Jack Leach, Josh Davey and Max Waller. Whether Jack will come in number 9 as he's down 2 remains to be seen.
Well, I think you should do his first over because Jack Leach is going to open the bowling, Mr. Gibson, from the pavilion end. His first over in T20 cricket, so it should definitely be you on commentary for this first over.
And he's going to be bowling to
Will Jacks,
who's been in great form in this competition. Where are the fielders out in the deep? We've got a long off. Here comes Leach from the pavilion end. He's in and bowls his first delivery in T20 cricket, which is played defensively back to him by Jacks. Where's the other boundary field? Oh,
deep
there he
mid-wicket.
is. Yeah, deep mid-wicket. Leach bowling his slow left arm in lovely evening sunshine. This is a quicker one, but again, Jack's content just to have a look at Jack Leach.
Yeah, interesting. Again, if you're going to go through the offside, you're going to have to go inside out. So he's defending the long boundary, Leach.
He bowls again. This is a quicker one that is cut away through the offside for 4 runs. Just a little bit short and wide, and flat batted away in front of square through the covers for Surrey's first runs, 4 without loss halfway through the first over.
Unless Jack Leach bowls one halfway down, and then Will Jacks can do exactly what he's done here, just jump onto that back foot and smack it through the covers for 4, but you'll see this tonight with the spinners. Which boundary are they going to defend? That's the key thing tonight.
Leach again, in and bowls to Jacks, tosses this one up more, and it's a fuller length as well, and treated with respect. And just played out into the covers where Max Waller does the fielding at extra cover. Cover point, backward point, short fine leg. Leach bowls, Jacks makes room for himself, and that's going to be 4 more. A dive by Will Smead at cover to try and cut it off, but to no avail. And that's another boundary again. A little bit short, a little bit wide.
Yeah, it's a good bit of batting from Will Jacks. He's jumped outside his leg stump. That's that inside-out shot we were talking about, because Leach knows if he goes really short, anything he can go leg side is a very short carry, really, out towards the Peter May stand. So he's trying to defend that cover boundary at the moment, is Jack Leach.
8 without loss, Surrey. This is driven back to him and just eludes his grasping left arm, goes up to long off. Last ball of the over, another single. So a good first over for Surrey, 9 without loss they are, and Jack Leach's first over in T20 cricket in his distinguished career. 16 test matches for England, but his first ever T20 game where it's gone for 9 runs.
Yeah, and it's great to see him out there, and what will also be fascinating is when Jamie Overton does come out to have a bat, when does Craig come into the attack? Because of course they've missed each other in both games so far, because Craig didn't play the championship game and it rained, and then he was away with England for the T20 game. So it'll be great to see J Overton and C Overton. C Overton will get us started from the Vauxhall end, and it will be Jamie Smith on strike. So Smith opens now. He was batting at 3 on Monday night. Now he's opening up for Surrey. It's Jacks on strike, apologies, with the single off the final ball of that first over. There's a slip in there, which is Hildreth, and then the 2 out, deep backward square. It's a long old carry out there, and a third man as first ball to Jacks, and Jacks is having a flash at this one outside his off stump from Craig Overton, goes past his edge, and it's into the gloves of Banton, moving away to his right hand side. If you're just joining us here on BBC Radio Somerset DAB, BBC Radio London, the BBC Sport website and app, Surrey stuck in by Somerset. We're in the second over, and Surrey 9 without loss. Will Jacks with all 9 runs. Jamie Smith is yet to face a ball as Jack stands with that bat raised. Craig Overton runs away from us. Over the wicket he comes, full of length, driven, 1 bounce up towards the captain Lewis Gregory, stood up there at mid-off, and there is no run. But as I say, 4,000 in tonight, so there will be a cracking atmosphere.
Yeah, as they're spread liberally around the ground.
Yeah, the middle tier of the Peter May stand being used as well tonight. That's 2 new tiers on that Peter May stand. 1 oval square down there, a big new corporate box and members bar down there as Craig Overton is over the wicket to Jacks. Jacks turns this one off his stumps into the leg side. There won't be a run as that ball just rolls into Jack Leach, who's fully involved in all of this at the moment. 9 without loss. Surrey. So yeah, James Hildreth, his 200th T20 game. And we were saying he'd have obviously played a bit of Champions League, if everybody remembers that, when Somerset got to the Champions League. But most of that would have been domestic T20, wouldn't it? As over the wicket comes Craig Overton. And this is an open face from Will Jacks, helping it down towards third man, where he'll get a single. And that will bring Jamie Smith onto strike for the first time. And Surrey 10 without loss. But that's remarkable, really, because as I say, Will Jacks is playing his 50th already. But obviously he's played Big Bash franchise cricket. And a lot of these players have played so many games around the world, but as I say, Hildreth, the majority of those games would have been for Somerset. He'd have probably played the first year, wouldn't he? 2003?
Not sure.
As Craig Overton is into Jamie Smith, then Smith's first ball's on a length, and the right-handed Smith just pushes this one straight back up the pitch.
He certainly played in the Somerset's only win in T20, which was in 2005.
Yeah.
When it was the 20 over cup.
Indeed. 18 years ago this all started.
Wasn't it?
Yep, it was. Surrey were in the first semi-final of that. Graham Smith, the captain, of course, of Somerset. As Craig Overton is in, driving his Jamie Smith, thickish inside edge, up to Davey at mid-on. He's scrambling through for the single, and it's a very tidy first over from Craig Overton. Just the 2 runs off it, 2 gone then, and Surrey 11 without loss. And at the moment, Will Jacks playing very, very sensibly at the moment. He pulled a short ball second over on Monday night, straight down deep mid-wicket's throat. Couldn't believe it. So he looks to me, Will Jacks, if he's just taking a little bit of time here. Obviously got off to that flying start with the 70 off 24 balls against Middlesex at Lords. Just looks like he's just going to take a bit more time this evening.
He hasn't faced a ball yet, has he? Oh, yes, of course he has. Yeah, he just faced that, just the one. It's Leach again, bowling to Jamie Smith, who runs it up to mid-on. Leach again in bowls to Smith, who swings this away up in the air, didn't quite get hold of it. The fielder's going away towards it. Oh, and takes a spectacular catch. I think that's Will Smead.
What a catch that is. That is an unbelievable catch. Going back over his shoulder. We saw Archie Lenham take one for Sussex, but that is running back is an absolutely fantastic catch. And what a start that is for Somerset. And Ben Green, the catcher, over his shoulder, running back towards the Peter May stand, and that is a really, really good catch. We've seen a couple of those this season. Archie Lenham's one to get rid of Jason Roy against Sussex the other evening, and that one from Green's an absolute cracker.
It was.
Smith gone for 1, 11 for 1, sorry.
Yeah, important breakthrough for Somerset as well, because he's a good player, Jamie Smith. But what a catch. And that is Jack Leach's first wicket in T20 cricket.
Well done, Mr. Leach.
Wasn't the greatest of deliveries, but on the other hand, he did induce the false shot.
Where's he been?
Jamie Smith going for the slog sweep and just getting it high on the bat. But my money was always on the ball there. I didn't really give Ben Green much of a chance of getting back to it, but did a fantastic job. Right, they have changed ends, and it's Will Jacks on strike who pushes this into the onside, and Josh Davey does the fielding.
Yeah, Laurie Evans, the new batsman, of course made 65 at Taunton. Missed out on Monday night with a tummy bug.
Yeah, he's a good player. Leach is in the bowls, and Jacks is down the pitch, hammering this straight for 6 runs. Terrific shot. Just 2 paces down the pitch, full swing of the bat. Really middled it down into the black sight screen in front of the pavilion.
It's fascinating this. Will Jacks, who's having a look tonight.
17 for 1. Leach is in a bowls, and Jacks gives himself room but hits it straight to Smead at cover point, who makes a smart stop to a hard hit. We've got Lewis Gregory going out to reinforce the cover field. Backward point, cover point, extra cover, and a very straight, very wide rather, mid-off, as this is hit between backward point and cover for 4 runs. And well, Will Jacks looking a real threat here. 21 for 1 after 3 overs, and 20 of those to Will Jacks.
Yeah, it's a good shot again from Will Jacks. He just gives himself that little bit of room, doesn't he, and then cuts through the offside and splits the 2 men with Gregory, as Anthony Gibson has said, had gone to backward point, but he split the short third man and the backward point. But it sounds a strange thing to say with Will Jacks, because 20 out of the 21, but he's definitely had a look tonight. He hasn't been going after every single ball, and I think that's because of what happened on Monday. 4th over, first ball for Laurie Evans. Craig Overton from the Vauxhall end to the right-handed Evans. It's down the leg side, and wide will be the signal from Rob Bailey. Stood at this Vauxhall end. Neil Bainton is out at square leg. Our 2 umpires this evening. 22 for 1. That will be now for Surrey with that wide signalled. Laurie Evans settles himself down over his bat once more. Craig Overton wearing number 7 as always. Over the wicket he comes. Right arm over on a length to Laurie Evans, who just turns this one into the leg side, and there's no run. You can hear that atmosphere already, though, just beginning to build up. And as I say, 4,000 I think it is tonight. I believe for the one-day international on the 1st of July here, as that's now a pilot event, they can have 50% in. So that'll be. And I was seeing that Wembley for the Euro final is going to be up to 66,000. There's Craig Overton over the wicket. He comes to Laurie Evans, and a little bit of shape off a goodish length again from Craig Overton. Lovely stuff. This from Craig Overton. Good control. Yep, there was the wide, the first ball of the over, but his first over only went for 2. Just the wide so far in this over from Craig Overton as he comes marching back towards us once again. Lots of people dotted around in the members' pavilion as well. As Craig Overton over the wicket, he comes to Laurie Evans. Slower ball, and Evans has a drive at this. That goes past his edge. Nicely bowled again by Craig Overton.
Yeah.
And a bit of guile there from Craig Overton, and Laurie Evans just indicating that nipped away from him, but just nicely bowled. Slower ball, and Laurie Evans threw it very early and going past his outside edge. Congratulations to New Zealand, who have beaten India by 8 wickets.
Yeah.
So congratulations to New Zealand as over the wicket once again goes Overton. Well bowled again, bangs this one in. Saw Laurie Evans take a couple of paces down the pitch to him, banged it in, and Laurie Evans can only push the ball back up the pitch, and there's no run.
Yeah, they deserve it, don't they? Having been so unlucky in the World Cup final back in 2019.
They do, and I'm just checking because I was very proud of myself earlier when I said, oh, Kane Williamson got a 50 as well, because I thought Devon Conway might be the only ever one. This one is Laurie Evans pushing Overton down towards backward point, and there is no run. So again, very good controlled over this from Craig Overton. Slower balls, banged in delivery when he saw Laurie Evans come down the pitch towards him. But Kane Williamson finished 52 not out, Ross Taylor finished 47 not out, and New Zealand beating India. As Overton in once more and nips this one back at Laurie Evans, who turns it into the leg side. Will just get a single down to short fine leg. Magnificent over that from Craig Overton. Just the 2 off it, the wide, and that single off the last ball. He's only gone for 4 off his 2. Craig Overton. 4 overs gone here on BBC Radio Somerset, DAB, BBC Radio London, and Surrey are 23 for 1 after 4.
Yep, a very good over from Craig Overton, who historically has been very expensive. Both the Overtons have been expensive in this form of cricket. Their career economy rates are 9.44 in the case of Craig and 9.92 in the case of Jamie. So they're not known for keeping the runs down, but it's a great start from Craig Overton. It's going to be Josh Davey from the pavilion end. He's in bowling to Laurie Evans, who's there and bowls, and takes him on the pad, and they'll go through for a leg by as Tom Banton comes from behind the stumps to pick up. First time I've seen the new the new tiers on the Peter May stand, and the what's it called? One oval square.
One oval square. It's called.
I think the new development fits in very nicely.
Yeah, it's
quite classy.
Yeah,
stylish.
If you come from Oval Tube, it looks a bit like the National Gallery actually from Oval Tube.
24 for 1 as Davey is in bowls to Jacks, who hammers that square. Oh, and it's misfielded by Will Smead. Not clever at cover point. It was travelling, but he'll be very disappointed.
Yeah, he fairly should have stopped it. I think what happened to him was it just there are some patches there from a used strip, and I just wonder whether it caught the edge of one of those and just flew at him as he went down to pick it up. But 4 more to Jacks. He's doing all the scoring here for Surrey. It's 24 not out now, out of 28, Will Jacks.
We're in the 5th over. Josh Davey is in and bowls to Jacks, who's up on his toes, and that's 4 more. That was a lovely shot. He didn't go after that one quite so hard, picked his spot and timed it away. He came down the pitch, but actually the shot he played was more of a back foot drive than a cover drive. Nice straight bat.
What's so good about that shot is, again, Davey is trying to defend that leg side boundary. So he's only allowed the 2 out, so he's got a ring of 4 in the covers. It's a long old boundary that out towards Archbishop Tennyson's, but Will Jacks on the up that time just drives it for 4 more.
There's Davey in a bowls, and this is lofted away. That could go all the way. It does indeed, down about 10 rows back into the Peter May stand at straight mid-wicket. And that's the second 6 that Will Jacks has hit, and that was the slog sweep, and he really got hold of it. 38 for 1.
Well, it's the 2 previous deliveries that have caused that delivery. So Davey, as I say, trying to defend the long boundary, has gone outside his off stump and been pushed twice through the covers for 4. So he's gone a bit straighter, and that's what he wants. Anything on his pads, he's going to look to go short leg side boundary, and he's just picked that up and stuck it in the Peter May stand for 6. So it's just good batting, that, really, from Will Jacks, who's on to 34.
Davey again comes loping in that familiar fashion. He's there and bowls to Jacks, who pulls that away again, and that has gone for 6 more. A little bit straighter that time, a little bit flatter, but just as emphatic. 44 for 1.
Yeah, I do like this from Will Jacks. He definitely had a look tonight, and now he's just got himself in. He's working out his angles again. For Davey there, I don't think he, at the moment with Will Jacks, he's not quite sure where to bowl to him, because he's taken him on the up twice now through the covers for 4. He's gone a bit straighter and been slung off a good length into the Peter May stand. He's just dropped his length and been pulled into the Peter May stand for 6.
20 runs off the over so far. Last ball, Davey to Jacks. This is driven but not timed, comes off the bottom of the back. So shy at the stumps from Gregory, which misses, and I think Jacks would have been home in any case. So at the end of the 5th over, 45 for 1. Surrey have got off to, if not quite a flyer, it's still a very, very good start on what, from the evidence of Monday evening, is not a particularly quick scoring pitch.
No, and I think what you're seeing here is the fact that Will Jacks, having got out on Monday night, trying to pull a ball in the 2nd over from memory off the spinner down deep mid-wicket throat, he's just had a little look and got himself in here. Craig Overton at his final over of the power play, coming into Will Jacks, who's on a length and pushes this one back up the pitch, and there's no. And Overton, outstanding really. He's only gone for 4 of these 45 runs, so all the runs have been coming from the pavilion end.
Gather there's a little bit of rumble on the line, so our apologies to those of you who are picking that up. Not quite sure what the problem is.
No, we've never had a problem before, so apologies. But he's going to try and defend this long leg side boundary, is Craig Overton. So he's got 2 men back off towards the Harleford Road as Overton is in again, and this one's turned leg side by Will Jacks. He's going to pick up 1, he's going to pick up 2, because it is a long old carry out there. But again, that's sensibly played by Will Jacks, because he hasn't tried to hit that too hard. Just nudges it into the leg side and picks up 2 runs.
I don't think Craig Overton's too impressed by that.
I think, well, it's not straightforward sweeping out there, to be honest with you. If you get it halfway, you're always getting 2 runs. You need Usain Bolt out there to stop 2. As Craig Overton is in again, and Jacks goes outside his leg stump, turns this one into the leg side. This time they won't get 2, as Jack Leach is up to do the fielding. So they've got Usain Bolt out there in the shape of Jack Leach at the moment, and that'll be a single. 48 for 1.
He's not the fleetest of foot, is our Jack.
He did well there, though.
Oh, he's wholehearted fielder.
Sprinted in. Evans comes on to strike on 1. As in over the wicket goes Overton, and Evans a full length ball and chips this back over Overton's head. Hasn't got all of this. We'll get a couple though. Lewis Gregory goes back from mid off to do the fielding. 2 more to the total, 2 more to Laurie Evans. He's on to 3, and the 50 there coming up in the 6th over. So steady, I'd say, from Surrey. Steady start this.
I think it's a bit better than steady.
They haven't gone mad, that's the only thing. It's been pretty calculated so far. As Craig Overton's in, and that's down the leg side, and wide will be the signal. And 1 more to the total, 51 for 1. I'd say it's been rather than brutal, I'd say it's been calculated.
Yes,
especially from Jacks. Jacks can be utterly brutal. We saw that in that first game against Middlesex. It was ridiculous, really. I think it was 50 or 14 balls or something. But that was brutal hitting. This tonight, it's been sensibly played so far. Here goes Laurie Evans, as I say that, trying the little ramp shot from outside the off stump. Got nothing on it. And Banton takes that one moving away to his right-hand side. So you can see what he's thinking. Fine leg on the edge of the circle. I'll just ramp this. I'll play a little ramp shot. But he got absolutely nothing on that at all, and taken by Banton moving away to his right hand side. 51 for 1 as Craig Overton comes in over the wicket to Evans. That's way down the leg side, and Craig Overton here, he's been watertight. He just lost it a touch in this over. Another wide, and one more to the total. 52 for 1, and he's actually come jogging back.
Yeah, must have been given the hurry up by his captain.
I would have thought so, because you've got your cut-off time, haven't you? So you don't want to take too long. 7:45 is the cut-off, as Craig Overton is over the wicket again to Evans. Slower ball, and Evans will just open the face guide this one down towards short third man. They'll pick up a single. End of the over. 6 gone, and power play done and dusted, and Surrey 53 for 1.
6 overs, Surrey are 53 for 1.
Yeah, and Will Jacks appears to be batting on a different pitch to Laurie Evans and Jamie Smith before him, dominating the scoring. 44 out of 53.
Yeah, and obviously Surrey have learned from Monday night, really, where, as I say, Essex did to Surrey what Surrey normally do to teams when they come here. So it's going to be fascinating to see what sort of total Surrey can put on the board, and how Somerset go about chasing it, but at least they can get some men out on the boundary rope now.
Still getting that rumble. I don't know what it is.
Apologies everyone, but we've never had it at this end before, so not a lot I can do about that, I'm afraid.
Lewis Goldsworthy's going to bowl from the pavilion end. Oh, nearly a catch to short extra cover. It's gone for 4 in the end. Off drive, but not very far away from Jack Leach.
Can move the kit
short
around.
Extra cover.
Try moving the kit around, I suppose. Oh, don't lose your phone there, Mr. Gibson.
57 for 1. Goldsworthy bowls again. This is driven back and just eludes him as he dives away to his left. Max Waller comes around on the boundary at long off to do the fielding. Another single. 58 for 1. Evans moves on to 9. Goldsworthy, just 5'7" or so inches tall. This is short and pushed through, and Leach quickly across to. Is that Leach or is that Gregory? I think that's Gregory, in fact. Goldsworthy again bowls to Jacks and pushes that one through again, and Ben Green will sweep up on the cover boundary as the sun comes out. We've got the floodlights on here as well. Slightly superfluous, a bit of a waste of electricity, but I suppose as this is bowled, nicely bowled by Goldsworthy, just played back to him by Laurie Evans, who's on 9, 59 for 1.
Bowling quick, isn't he?
He's got a good
sticking it in
head
the
on
pitch,
young shoulders, as young Lewis. There and bowls, pushes this one through, takes Evans on the pad, and not a bad over that, just the 6 runs from it. 59 for 1 after 7 overs. 45 to Jacks and 9 to Evans.
Yeah, I'd hazard a guess that's the cheapest over we've had from the pavilion end, without a shadow of a doubt, from Lewis Goldsworthy. And as I say, he was bowling pretty flat there, just sticking it in the pitch. And 59 for 1 after 7.
Change of bowling.
So Max Waller, we're going to get spin from both ends now. So Max Waller spin from both ends from the Vauxhall end of the ground. And it will be Will Jacks on strike. So Max Waller, I think it's fair to say, took a bit of tap at Taunton against Surrey. But from the sounds of it, bounced back very well from that. Very fine bowler is Max Waller. Very, very fine.
Yeah, he went at 14.5 against Surrey, but much better against Kent.
Yep, so Max Waller bowling to Will Jacks on 45, 59 for 1. Waller is in, and Jacks just nudges this one into the leg side. He's thinking about to. Now Craig Overton now knows how quick you've got to be to get up there, and he does very well.
He is quick though,
His brother will be in exactly the same position when Somerset are batting.
They are terrific fielders though, aren't they? Whether they're in the slips or
absolutely. No, it's brilliant. So
bounding around the boundary.
Jacks on 46, and back onto strike comes Laurie Evans on 9, as Waller is into him. And sweeping is Evans out towards deep backward square. He'll pick up a single. That'll be 1 more to the total, 1 more to Laurie Evans. And the 50 partnership comes up between these two. Evans has 10. Jacks on 46.
Yes, it's dominating proceedings out there at the moment.
Sun shining down on the pitch. Oh, Max Waller, that one's come out all wrong. Halfway down, wide outside the off stump, and taken by Tom Banton, moving away to his right hand side. A little shake of the head there from Max Waller, and he comes again, and this is swept. 1 bounce out towards deep backward square again. It spins off the turf.
Yeah, it did.
It's all go out there.
Lammonby had to move, had to adjust very quickly there. He did very well. Looks as if it was going to be a comfortable take.
Jacks.
But it turned away from him like a leg break.
47. 63 for 1 as Waller is in again, and little reverse sweep from Evans as it got to the short backward point. No, run out now, because backward point came sprinting in, got it on the half volley, and then Evans and Jacks got in a right old muddle, and Laurie Evans is run out for 10 and 63 for 2, and Will Jacks is down on his haunches halfway down the pitch, but they had a right old mess up there, because we were watching the fielder Jack Leach to see if he was going to get to the catch from backward point. He got it on the half volley, slid, but then Laurie Evans had just shot off for a single, so that's a big wicket. Evans gone for 10, 63 for 2.
It was his own fault. It wasn't his call, it was Will Jacks's call, and Jacks could see that it wasn't a single, and why Laurie Evans thought there might be a single there, I really don't know.
Well, I think he possibly just shot off for the shot, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then, well, Leach did very well actually. As I say, slid, got it on the half volley, and then got the throw in straight over the top of the stump. So Ben Geddes is out there, made his debut on Monday night. Made his Surrey age group debut at 9, Anthony. Led Surrey to the under-17s national championship. Now playing for the first team, as his first ball is hitting the pads as he looks to nudge this one on the leg side, and leg by will be the signal, and that'll be 1 more to this Surrey total. But that's a big wicket. I'll get a bit of bat on that actually. He's off the mark. 64 for 2 as waiting is Will Jacks, settled over his bat once more, and Jacks 47 sweeps again. Goldsworthy does the fielding out there at deep backward square as the throw comes in, and they'll pick up a single. That'll be 1 more to the total, 1 more to Will Jacks. Jacks on to 48, end of the over, 8 gone, 65 for 2.
Yeah, it's getting worse as well.
There's nothing I can do from this end. We've never had it
like
before.
An interference from something.
We've never had it before, and we're dialed into the greats at BBC Radio Bristol, so I wonder whether that might be the reason, but there's not a lot I can do about that from this end, I'm afraid. Unless you want me to dial down and dial back in again, I'll do whatever anybody wants.
We'll try
really.
that after this over. Here's Goldsworthy again and bowls, and this is cut backward of square, and Ben Green is going to send in the return, but not before they've completed 2 runs. 67 for 2, and that is Will Jacks's 50.
5 fours and 3 sixes.
How many balls was it, Mark? I didn't quite pick up what Johnny Barron said.
Just 1 second, and I'll get all that information for you. 28 balls.
28 balls. It's Goldsworthy then, in and bowls to Jacks, who plays this out into the offside, takes a comfortable single. It's Ben Green does the fielding. 68 for 2. We're in the 9th over. Being bowled by Lewis Goldsworthy, slow left arm from the pavilion end, and this is played straight to short extra cover. Dot ball is Goldsworthy again, and beats his man there, takes him on the pad. Good piece of bowling. Baffling Geddes. How old is Ben Geddes?
19. 19, and as I say, he's come through the age groups.
Two young men in opposition. This is driven back to Goldsworthy, who doesn't stop it cleanly, but does enough to deter the batsman from trying to steal a single. He's in again, bowls. This is swung away into the onside, and this will go for 4. It bisects the two fielders out on the onside boundary in front of the Peter May stand. Well placed, that was. End of the over, 72 for 2 at the end of the 9th, and we'll just...
I'll keep talking just because of the live stream as well. You might lose us now just for a second on BBC Somerset DAB, but stick with us. Hang on. So we're still on the Surrey live stream and just redialing up on the ISDN. You'll probably hear a bit of beeping there as Max Waller comes in over the wicket for the Vauxhall end. Full toss, and this is swung leg side by Will Jacks, and he'll get a single. Goldsworthy does very well there with the throw, and one bounce over the top of the stumps, and was 73 for 2 as Max Waller gets ready to come in once again over the wicket to Ben Geddes, and Geddes all's gone, caught and bowled, looking to whip this one leg side, gets a leading edge on it, and it just flicks away straight back to the bowler, and he's gone. Ben Geddes has gone, and Geddes goes for 5. It's 73 for 3. Welcome back to listeners on BBC Radio Somerset DAB, and well, Geddes has gone for 5. 73 for 3, Surrey, and it's Max Waller with the wicket, caught and bowled. Geddes for 5.
Simple caught and bowled. Don't know quite what Geddes was trying to do there. Well, let's hope that I'm sorry that those of you listening to BBC Radio Somerset DAB missed that wicket.
But, I don't know, they might have just got it back in time there. So if you still get a buzzing, there is nothing I can do from this end there, because we've I'm not sure it's this end. 73 for 3, and Surrey lose Ben Geddes, and out comes, you've come back at the right time, because Jamie Overton is out there now. Get his brother on.
Yeah,
so
bring Craig on.
So we're in the 10th over, 73 for 3, and Jamie Overton waiting for Max Waller, and Overton's first ball nudges into the leg side, and and he was a little unlucky on Monday night. Jamie Overton was given out caught behind when it hit his back pad. I thought he was out LBW, but he was actually given out caught behind as Waller's in again, and this is another strange old delivery from Max Waller. Full toss, but he's off the mark is Jamie Overton, turning that one out towards deep backward square, and they will pick up a single, and that'll be Jamie Overton's first run, and we'll move Surrey on to 74 for 3. Will Jacks on 52 here, holding it all together, turns this one into the leg side. They'll think about 2, they won't get 2, because Max Waller has gone sprinting back to get the ball off his own bowling, and Will Jacks moves on to 53. So 1 ball to go, and then Surrey will be halfway through their 10 overs. 75 for 3. Waller comes bouncing in once again. Here goes Jamie Overton using his feet, and then pushes Max Waller straight back up the pitch. There is no run. That's halfway then for Surrey, and Surrey 75 for 3. The 3 to go. Jamie Smith caught brilliantly by Ben Green off Leach for 1. Evans run out by Leach for 10, and Geddes caught and bowled by Waller for 5.
Yep, and well, after conceding 53 in the power play, just 22 have come from the subsequent 4 overs. So the Somerset spinners, Waller and Goldsworthy, doing their stuff. But Lewis Goldsworthy has been relieved at the pavilion end after bowling 2 overs for 13 by his skipper, Lewis Gregory, who has not been at his best with the ball. Apologies again for the rumbling on the line. We don't know what it is. Here's Gregory in then from the pavilion end, and this is pulled away, and it's going to go for 4 runs again. Bisects the 2 fielders out on the leg side boundary, the shorter of the 2 boundaries here, and that's 79 for 3.
Yeah, just for a second I thought he pulled it straight down one of those 2 fielders' throats there, but just got enough on it, did Will Jacks.
Gregory bowls again. This is short and punched into the onside. There'll be 2. No, they decide against coming back for the second run, because that's Craig Overton fielding that, and his brother knows better than anyone what a good arm Craig has got, and keeps them down just to the single. 80 for 3, 58 to Jacks. Jamie Overton on strike. Gregory bowls to him, and he runs this down towards third man, where Jack Leach will scurry in that distinctive fashion of his to do the fielding. Another run goes on the board. 81 for 3. We're in the 11th over. Somerset winning the toss and asking Surrey to bat on a used pitch. This is the pitch that was used here on Monday night when Essex enjoyed a surprisingly comfortable victory over Surrey in a match reduced to 17 overs aside. Gregory to Jacks. Jacks goes for a big drive. It almost gets underneath his bat. He picks up a single as hits the very bottom of his bat and just dribbles out into the offside. 82 for 3.
Yeah, again he's pitched up, slower ball, and he's wanting to launch that into the Peter Maidstone. I think he feels he's missed out a bit. It's brave delivery that from Lewis Gregory, it really is.
Comes again from the pavilion end, in and bowls to Overton, who pulls that away and will pick up 4 runs. It was very nearly a very good stop out there, but not quite. So Jamie Overton's first boundary against his old teammates. First time he's batted against Somerset since he joined Somerset. Bowled against them, bowled the 1 over down at Taunton a couple of weeks ago. 86 for 3.
Yeah, Tom Lammonby there. He didn't have a long way to go, did he? But did his very best.
Just travelling.
Yeah.
Gregory to Overton as their bowls, and that's a wide outside the off stump.
Yeah, I think this innings is in the balance as we speak. I think it's in the balance at the moment. I think Somerset will be delighted to have picked up their 3 wickets. With Will Jacks there, Surrey will still be eyeing up a pretty big score, but Somerset will be thinking, ooh, we could keep this down to something manageable at the moment. So it's nicely balanced, this game at the moment.
Gregory bowls full of length and played square of the wicket on the offside. A tumbling attempt to make a stop by Lewis Goldsworthy, but Ben Green is there to back up. It's just the single. It's 88 for 3 after 11 overs.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Going at 8 at the moment, Surrey. They'll want to push it on from here. But those 3 wickets, Smith, Evans, Geddes. But with Will Jacks still there on 59, then Surrey will be eyeing up a substantial score. But
what do you reckon par is on this pitch?
150. I'd say 150, which shows that Surrey's 118 the other night was never going to be enough against Essex. But yeah, I'd say 150 on here. You can get yourself up around 160, 170. You're in a really good position on here, I think. So really what I'm saying is Surrey need to double from here, I think. And Jack Leach from the Vauxhall end is getting ready to come into the attack, and his first ball, left arm round the wicket. His third over, he bowled his first 2 from the pavilion end, is swept by Jamie Overton out towards deep backward square, and they will pick up a single, and Jamie Overton moves on to 8, and it's 89 for 3, and that will bring Will Jacks back onto strike on 59 as Jack Leach left arm round the wicket he comes, and Jacks turns this one down the ground. He'll get a single, and they'll pick up one more to the total. Jacks moves on to 60. He's played this pretty sensibly so far, Will Jacks. As I say, it hasn't been brutal from him at all. 90 for 3, Surrey. Leach, left arm round the wicket to Jamie Overton. Down the pitch he comes, slaps it straight to short extra cover, and Gregory takes the catch. So Jamie Overton danced down the pitch, smashed it, but straight to the captain. And Overton goes for 8, and again, this is what I mean. Somerset picking up wickets at good times. 90 for 4, Surrey. Jacks has 60 of that 90, and Jamie Overton twirls his bat in his hand as he marches back towards the dressing room. Gone for H, caught by Gregory off Leach. 90 for 4.
And you can see how disappointed he is. Jamie Overton twirling his, doing sort of juggling with his bat and beating it against his pads as well.
Yeah.
Rory Burns.
Yeah, out comes the Surrey Championship captain, of course, and England's opener, Rory Burns, coming in at number 6 this evening. Made 2 on Monday night on his return to the Surrey T20 side. And he joins Will Jacks out there at the moment. He's got 60 out of these 90 runs.
Would he be in a full strength Surrey T20 side?
He was last year, actually I'll get his figures for you.
He hasn't got a
year.
fantastic record in T20 cricket, has he?
Last year in the T20, where are you, Rory Burns? Average of 23.5, strike rate of 127, a couple of 50s in there as well for him with the bat last year for Surrey in T20.
Career average is only just under 17.
Yeah, I think now though, the thing you find with him now is when he comes back from Test match duty, he's sort of freed up a bit when he comes to T20. As here comes his England teammate, Jack Leach to him, and the left-handed Burns is off the mark straight away, tucks this one down towards long on, takes a single. And off the mark straight away is Rory Burns, 91 for 4. He played a particularly memorable knock at Lord's last year, I seem to remember, in the T20, where he smashed it to all parts. Just, oh my goodness. He came out and whacked it to all parts of St John's Wood last year. As Will Jacks on 60, Leach is into him, flatter delivery, and Jacks punches down towards backward point. And there is no run. So, 91 for 4. Will Jacks has 60 of those runs, so pretty much dominated this as Will Jacks, as he's forward here to Leach and pushes this one out towards the sweeper on the cover boundary rope, and it's a good over that from Jack Leach. Picks up his second T20 wicket on his T20 debut, and Surrey, after 12 overs, are here on BBC Radio Somerset, DAB and BBC Radio London, are 92 for 4.
Yeah, good over that. The wicket of Jamie Overton in it.
Change bowling from the pavilion end, Lewis Goldsworthy.
Lewis Goldsworthy coming back into the attack to bowl his 3rd over. 2 overs for 13 so far. He's been the Craig Overton's been the most economical. He's been the 2nd most economical, as this is driven up to long off just for a single. Craig Overton does the fielding. Craig Overton tends to field on the straight boundaries, take advantage of his height for anything that is only just going to clear the boundary. Rory Burns will face his first delivery from Goldsworthy, who'll be turning the ball into the left-hander.
Yeah, and he's got that long leg side boundary for the left-hander, hasn't he?
He's in and bowls. Burns is down the pitch, turning that away into the onside. Craig Overton has got the ball in his hand and gets it away really, really quickly. Fine piece of fielding, sends in the return on the bounce to Goldsworthy.
Yeah, the Overton's fielding will be a feature of this evening, both of them.
94 for 4 in the 13th over. Goldsworthy bowling to Jacks, is there and bowls. This is driven away through the offside. Ben Green is going to cut it off. He'll send in the return, but they'll come back for a second run. 96 for 4. Jacks on to... They did complete 2.
2, yeah.
64 he has. Goldsworthy again to Jacks, who this time just drops it into the offside, sets off straight away for a single, which is achieved comfortably enough. 97 for 4.
The reason I was smiling was there's a bit of buzzing on the line, and now it sounds like they're tearing the stand down down below us as well.
Goldsworthy to Burns, and again plays that up to long on, where Max Waller will do the fielding. Somerset's 2 gun fielders out there, Max Waller and Craig Overton. Of course, no Tom Abel here this evening. It's a huge blow to Somerset's hopes, not just in this competition but in the county championship. He's got a torn hamstring. I've no idea when he may be able to play again. This is Jacks back on his stumps, and Lewis Goldsworthy bowling well there, following Jacks and not giving him any room, and all he can do is just play it out into the offside. End of that over. The 13th, 98 for 4. Surrey, and well, Somerset staying in this. If they can get rid of Will Jacks, I think they'll fancy their chances of keeping Surrey down to something manageable. We've got 7 overs to be bowled, 7 8s, 56, 150-ish.
Yeah, which I think would be about par. I think that would be about par. But yeah, absolutely, this whole innings is in Will Jacks' hands at the moment. He's played very responsibly tonight. Sounds a strange thing to say. This is the best T20 innings I've seen him play, Will Jacks. As Leach comes left arm round the wicket to Rory Burns, who stands up straight and switch hits him away for 4 runs. So good shot that from Rory Burns, just stood up straight and switch hit. And away for 4, the 100 coming up for Surrey with that boundary. Burns is on to 7, it's 102 for 4.
Yeah.
Good shot from Rory Burns.
Very good shot, he absolutely middled it.
Took it out from outside his off stump. That'll make Leach think, as he's just moving his backward point out to cover, and then his sweeper on the cover rope is being pushed behind square because he's got a couple back on that shorter leg side boundary, and the long off and the long on as well.
Third man and fine leg up inside the circle.
As Burns is down the pitch, clips this one very nicely into the leg side. They'll want 2, they'll only get 1 though, as Max Waller comes quickly round to do the fielding. So a single for Rory Burns. Nice feet from Rory Burns there. He's on to 8, 103 for 4. Will Jacks comes back onto strike on 65. There's a little survey of the field again, does Will Jacks, and then Jack Leach will come left arm round the wicket to him, and Jacks is forward, little leading edge, looking to turn that one leg side, and that potters out towards Lewis Gregory in there at short extra cover, and there is no run.
Much approval on Twitter for the live dial.
You've got a new fan club, Mr. Gibson. Down the pitch comes Jacks. He hasn't got enough of this. This will be a huge wicket. Waller with the catch. Jack Leach with his 3rd wicket, because that's the man who was doing all the run scoring for Surrey. And Will Jacks will be livid with himself there. He's looking to the heavens as he makes his way off. It's been a good innings of 65. The reason I was saying it's the best innings I've seen him play was the responsibility of it. But there at a crucial time, he's looked to go down the ground. He's picked out Max Waller. Now Somerset will be delighted. Jacks goes for 65. It's 103 for 5.
Yeah, not the sort of fielder you want to pick out either. Max Waller, one of the very best fielders in what is a very good Somerset fielding side. Just didn't quite get hold of it. And credit to Jack Leach. Well, I think on this form, he'll play more than one.
He'll be in the England side by next week.
3 for 27 he has in 3.2 overs.
Yeah, it's fascinating that he's never played before. Quality bowler, of course. They crossed, so Rory Burns is back on strike, and Jordan Clark is down there at the non-striker's end. And Rory Burns is forward to Jack Leach. He's almost popped it straight back to Jack Leach as he's looked to wristily play this one into the leg side. It's just gripping a touch, I think, for Mr. Leach. 3 for on his debut, Jack Leach. It's round the wicket again. He goes. There is some turn there, bit of bite for Leach. That hits the powder birds. I think the thing is, it's very difficult at the end of the over. Good over again from Jack Leach. Gets that huge wicket of Will Jacks for 60. But I think it's difficult on here to walk out from ball one and start smashing the ball to all parts. You saw Jacks had to take his time just to get in on here, work the pace out. So it's going to be difficult for Surrey now with fresh batsmen to really up the tempo, I think. Got a chance here, Somerset, of keeping Surrey, well, under that 150 now, I would think.
Yep. Gregory is going to bowl to Jordan Clark. Tall, strong, fast bowler from Cumbria originally. Came to Surrey via Lancashire. And very useful bowling all-rounder. But he can hit a long ball. Here comes Lewis Gregory to bowl to him. He's in and bowls, and that hurries Clark. And he plays it back to Gregory. Gregory's just bowled the 1 over, which went for 13. Max Waller 2 overs, 1 for 9. He's bowled well. Jack Leach 4 overs, 3 for 29.
Yeah, Jordan Clark top scored for Surrey against Essex, 30 off 31 balls with 2 4s and 1 6.
Comes Gregory again. He's in and bowls, and this is played up to long on, and Josh Davey will come in to do the fielding.
Half the pitch now, half the ground now is in shade, and half is in bright sunshine now.
Lovely to see so many people back inside a cricket ground. It's a good atmosphere.
It's good, isn't it? It really is.
Sitting in the sunshine after the. Have you had any matches rained off?
2 now.
2, yeah.
2 abandonments.
We've had 2 successive abandonments to Sussex. Wasn't too heartbroken about that.
Wherever Sussex go, seems to get rained off at the moment.
It's Gregory to Burns. He's in and bowls, and Burns just helps this around the corner down to Ben Green at deep backward square leg. The single is taken, 104 for 5. Yeah, I wasn't too heartbroken about a no result against Sussex at Hove, because they're a pretty useful outfit.
Yeah, they're a very good side, aren't
they? Not being able to get a game against Glamorgan was rather a different kettle of fish, because I quite fancied our chances against Glamorgan. Here's Gregory to Jordan, who's again hurried. There's a shy at the stumps, which misses.
Quick from Rory Burns. He is quick, but that really did scamper that signal. I thought he was in a bit of trouble there for a moment. Yeah, Surrey got 5 overs here against Sussex, and it had everything. Those 5 overs had everything, and then it rained. So Surrey are off to Hove on Sunday, but everyone's telling me that the forecast for Sunday is pretty good, I think.
Yeah, I think so. 106 for 5. Gregory in and bowls to Burns, who gets a short ball, which he doesn't go up hard after, just works it away in front of square on the onside for another single. 107 for 5. We're in the 15th over.
I'm just looking at the Surrey scorecard here, and other than Jacks, we've only had 4 boundaries. Jacks, 6 4s and 2 6s.
Here's Gregory to Jordan, and this comes off the edge, and it's a thick edge, and it'll go for 4. A diving attempt to make the stop at backward point, but 4 runs it is. 111 for 5 at the end of that over. 5 overs remain.
Quick hands from Jordan Clark, and that whistled off down to the boundary road. So that's the 5th boundary we've had, other than Will Jacks. Will Jacks 6 4s and 3 6s, apologies. And then there was a boundary for Laurie Evans, a boundary for Geddes, a boundary for Jamie Overton. Burns has switched hit that boundary, and now a first boundary as well for Jordan Clark. So 111 for 5, and Max Waller coming back into the attack from this Vauxhall end of the ground. And Waller so far this evening, 2 overs, no maidens, 1 for 9 for Max Waller. And that wicket of Ben Geddes just after Mr. Gibson's live dialing 111 for 5.
It hasn't done the trick, I'm afraid. Apologies to those listening on BBC Somerset DAB.
As in comes Waller, and Burns drives this one straight down the ground. He'll get a single. Down here to Ben Green at long on. And that'll be one more to Rory Burns. He's on to 11. 112 for 5. Jordan Clark comes back onto strike on 6. As Clark has a little look around the field. Max Waller will come over the wicket to Jordan Clark, and Clark is forward, turns this one leg side down towards short fine leg. They'll pick up another single. One more to the total. One more to Jordan Clark. He moves on to 7. Surrey moving on to 113 for 5. Crowd enjoying this, sat in the Peter May stand. They're basking in the sun at the moment. Very nice it is, as the left-handed Burns slog sweeps all along the carpet out towards deep mid-wicket. They'll pick up one more. Burns moves on to 12, 114 for 5. Back onto strike comes Jordan Clark once again, as Max Waller is in over the wicket to him, and this is turned by Jordan Clark down towards short fine leg. They'll pick up another single. One more to the total, and one more to Jordan Clark. So I think we're seeing at the moment exactly what we said. It's very difficult to come out there and start smacking the ball to all parts this evening. I think you've got to get yourself in first. 115 for 5 as Waller is in to Burns. Full toss, and Burns has slapped it straight to Jack Leach on the edge of the circle at cover. He'll feel he's missed out there. Rory Burns, has been a couple of those tonight from Max Waller. That was a full toss, and Burns smacked it straight to Leach as Waller's in again to him. Oh, sweeping is Burns, goes past his edge. Bantam whips off the bails, but nicely bowled by Max Waller. Took a lot of pace off that one. 16 overs have gone, 4 are left, and Surrey 115 for 5. So they're going to have to go some now to get up to that 150. Anthony Gibson.
Yep, it remains to be seen how good a score this is. Those of you listening who are used to scores at Taunton will think that 115 for 5 after 16 overs isn't great, but don't think this is the easiest pitch in the world to score runs quickly on, and I think that that innings of Will Jacks will look very, very good in the context of this game overall. Craig Overton's going to come back to bowl what will be his 4th over from the Pavilion end. He bowled his other 3 overs from the Vauxhall end for just 12 runs. So he's bowling to Jordan Clark. He's in and bowls, and hurries Clark into a defensive push into the offside. Good, accurate bowling.
Yeah, he's bowled really well tonight, Craig Overton. Just Will Jacks sort of just made him lose his radar a touch in his last over, but other than that, he's been absolutely on the money this evening.
Yeah, it's the best I have seen him bowl in T20 cricket, I think. He's there again, bowling to, this is down the leg side and will be given as a wide. He was lucky to get away with that, Craig Overton. It was short down the leg side, fine leg. James Hildreth is up in the circle, and if Jordan Clark had got anything on that at all, it would have sailed away down to the fine leg boundary, but he didn't. But it's a wide, 116 for 5. He bowls again, and this is run down to 3rd man, where Jack Leach will do the fielding, sends in the return on the bounce to Tom Banton. It'll be interesting to see how Tom Banton goes this evening. He needs a few runs. Not been having a great time.
He might enjoy tonight.
Well, big stage, isn't it?
Exactly, big crowd.
And he is one for the big occasion. It's Overton to Burns. He's there and bowls and takes Burns on the pad. Feels for LBW a little bit optimistically. That was going down the leg side. Just cramping Burns for room. They take a leg by, 117 118 for 5.
England are playing Sri Lanka tonight in Cardiff in a T20.
How are they getting on?
Which I completely forgot about, if I'm honest. Sri Lanka 70 for 4 batting. Wickets for Sam Curran, Mark Wood, Chris Jordan and Liam Livingstone.
Here we got Craig Overton bowling to Jordan Clark, who swings that away into the onside, and it's gone for 6. Just Tom Lammonby out there on the deep mid-wicket boundary, leapt to try and take the catch, but couldn't get a hand on it.
Yeah, that was tough. That was coming out the sun as well, wasn't it, for Tom Lammonby? So he leapt skyward, right on the edge of the boundary, but coming out the sun as well. That would have been really tricky out there for him.
124 for 5. Overton bowls to Clark, who's beaten and caught. Got a thin edge and through to Tom Banton, who takes a comfortable catch away to his right. So Craig Overton getting the last laugh there against Jordan Clark. 124 for 6. And Clark gone. Caught Banton, bowled Overton for 15.
Yeah, good bowling from Craig Overton, wasn't it? Bent his back on that one quicker, and Jordan Clark leant back, tried to cut. Little edge, nicely taken off his feet by Tom Banton. So a perky little knock that from Jordan Clark, and that will bring out Gus Atkinson, who Laurie Evans described Gus Atkinson, christened him MS Atkinson last year after Mr. Dhoni, because he coolly walked out at Chelmsford, smashed a 4 to win the game. So talented boy is Gus Atkinson, all-rounder. He'll do a bit of bowling, I would have thought, tonight as well for Surrey. And in terms of T20 cricket, made his debut last year in the competition for Surrey.
Here's Overton in and bowls, and Atkinson plays that square of the wicket. They sort of and ah as to whether to go for a single. It was never there, as Lewis Goldsworthy was quickly onto it. It's the end of the over. It's 124 for 6, and Craig Overton has 1 for 20 in 4 overs. Well bowled.
Yeah, very good tonight from Craig Overton. Yeah, Gus Atkinson played 9 games last season, has a strike rate of 176.
Gracious me.
Very good, isn't it? But no, it was the innings where he just walked out there, and Laurie Evans had batted beautifully and walked out there and just smashed a 4 in the last over and then walked off and won the game. So he christened him MS Atkinson after Mr. Dhoni. To Laurie Evans last year. Max Waller it will be to bowl the 18th over, 124 for 6 Surrey. And Burns will be the man on strike on a lovely evening here in South London now. Beautiful, beautiful evening. It's been a very nice day actually. As down the pitch comes Rory Burns, drives straight out to extra cover, throw comes in, and Burns is home for the single. Got to take every run now, so Rory Burns moves on to 13. Gus Atkinson comes on to strike, yet to get off the mark. Off go the boundary riders, as I think they're known as now. As long on, deep mid-wicket, deep backward square, sweeper on the cover rope and a long off. As in over the wicket goes Waller to the right-handed Atkinson. He's looking to turn this into the leg side, hits the pad and rolls into the offside. And there's now, and there are all these new terms that keep going up. Match up, Mr.
Oh, you were going on about that down in Taunton, weren't you?
I thought it was a dating app, but it turns out it's something to do with cricket. Sweeping here is Atkinson. It hits the pad, rolls out into the offside, and there is no run. Yeah, they sort of look at the opposition, then match up which bowler they want to which batter. As over the wicket again comes Waller, and this is swept by Atkinson out towards deep mid-wicket. Round comes Craig Overton to do the fielding, just the single. 126 for 6. But you'll see spin from Surrey as well. I think Craig Overton's been outstanding tonight, because what you do want on here is a bit of pace on. But he's varied his pace, he's mixed it up. Very good bowling tonight from Craig Overton, as this is short, cut by Burns out towards the sweeper on the cover point rope, and that'll just be another single for Rory Burns. So difficult to hit the boundaries. 127 for 6. Burns moves on to 14.
Somerset need to finish this off now. It's been a good bowling performance, but they need to keep it reasonably tight the last couple of overs.
what will be in the back of their minds as Gus Atkinson waits again, is sweeping is Atkinson down towards short fine leg, and they'll pick up another single. And this is nothing against these three gentlemen, but Batty, Moriarty and Dernbach to come. 128 for 6, 2 overs remaining for Surrey. Waller tonight, 4 overs, no mains, 1 for 17. Very good stuff from Max Waller this evening.
Yep, very good indeed. And all the Somerset bowlers have bowled pretty well. Josh Davey, much the most expensive, just bowled the 1 over which went for 21. Lewis Gregory, none for 21 in 2, going at 10.5. But Leach going at 7, Overton at 5, Goldsworthy 6.33, Max Waller just 4.25. It's going to be Goldsworthy from the pavilion end, is in and bowls, and that's played up to long on to Craig Overton just for a single. Another run to young Gus, who's on to 3. What a good name, isn't it? Angus Atkinson.
It's a good name. Yeah. Good name.
Goldsworthy, 20 years old, from Camborne. He's going to be bowling to Rory Burns. He's there and bowls, and Burns goes for the reverse sweep, and there's a very good stop down there by Josh Davey, who isn't, one wouldn't say he was the most athletic fielder in this Somerset side, but he did jolly well there.
Yeah, he saved a couple of runs there, didn't he?
Certainly did. 2 runs are taken, 131 for 6. But could easily have gone for 4. It was very well timed by Rory Burns. I've already seen a switch hit from Burns. That was more of the reverse sweep. Goldsworthy coming from the sunshine into the shade, pushes this one through. It's driven up towards Max Waller at long on. Waller's across, sends in the return. He got it in the air quickly, but it's just about all you could say for it. And they complete 2 more runs, 133 for 6. We're in the halfway through the 19th over, so 9 balls remaining in the innings. Somerset will badly want to keep Surrey to below 150. Burns swings this away out into the deep. Overton is underneath it and takes the catch. Comfortable as you like, out on the deep mid-wicket boundary. And that is the 7th Surrey wicket, and it's the wicket of Rory Burns. Caught Overton, bowled Goldsworthy for 18.
Well, yeah, had to go for it, Rory Burns, but again, it's that long old boundary out towards deep mid-wicket, and slog sweeping Rory Burns. Got quite a bit of that, actually, but Craig Overton just stood probably 10-15 yards in from that boundary rope, didn't have to move an inch, and took a very straightforward and simple catch. So 133 for 7, and out comes Dan Moriarty, who batted for the first time in his 18th T20 game, I think it was, on Monday night, and made 6 not out, left-hander. So a little bit of work to do here, but Atkinson is back on strike on 3.
And Lewis Goldsworthy, 1 for 24 with 2 balls remaining. Gregory just changing his field. He's going to cover point, moving his boundary rider straighter. Goldsworthy bowls, and this is smeared up to long on by Atkinson. Not a shot of great beauty, not a thing of beauty or a joy forever.
No, single, but I'm not sure that'll make the highlights.
134 for 7. 1 ball remaining in the 19th over. Who is Somerset going to get to bowl the 20th? I wonder. We shall see. Gregory bowl,
captain?
Yeah, I should think. Goldsworthy then bowling to Moriarty, who gets this up to long on, and Waller again in business, sends in the return. End of that over, the 19th, 135 for 7, and Lewis Goldsworthy finishes with figures of 4 overs, 1 for 26.
Yeah, and he's bowled very nicely as well tonight, Lewis Goldsworthy. Again, spin. Very important here in T20. So who will it be? It's Josh Davey.
Josh Davey.
Josh Davey.
Not sure about that.
So Josh Davy's got 1 over so far. So Surrey 135 for 7. Can they find another 10 runs in this final over? It'll be tricky for Moriarty and Atkinson. If you look, it's a funny looking scorecard really for Surrey.
I was just going to say exactly the same. You look at Will Jack 65, and the next highest is Rory Burns with 18.
I know, and it's sort of very stop-start this innings. So dominated by Will Jacks, obviously with 65. They picked up their wickets at good times. Have Somerset, but what it would say there is it's very difficult just to walk out there from ball 1 and start smashing it all over the ground. So Dan Moriarty will be on strike, and it's going to be Josh Davey from the Vauxhall end coming in over the wicket to Moriarty. First ball's a slow wide delivery outside the off stump, and it'll be signal wide. So they'll still have 6 balls, Surrey, and 136 for 7. So didn't quite get that one right, Josh Davey. And you can see what he was thinking. Slower ball, but it was too wide outside that off stump, and really no option there for Rob Bailey. So still 6 balls left as Davey comes over the wicket to Dan Moriarty, and Moriarty swings leg side out towards deep mid-wicket, and they will pick up a single, 1 more to the total, and Moriarty moves on to 2, 137 for 7.
Again, apologies to listeners on Radio Somerset DAB for the rumbling. We don't know what's causing it, and there isn't much, I'm afraid, we can do about it.
I could try something at half time.
I'm not sure it's here. I think it's.
I think it might be. Yeah, we've never had it before. I'm not just saying it's like me. Never done that before. As in over the wicket comes Davey, and this is swung down the ground towards long on by Gus Atkinson, and Jamie Overton does the fielding down below us. And 1 more to Gus Atkinson. He moves on to 5, 138 for 7. It's sort of workman-like this from Surrey, this total at the moment. 118 they made on Monday night, so they've found 20 runs.
That was in 17 overs though, wasn't it?
Yeah, as in over the wicket once again comes Josh Davey, and this is swung by Moriarty. Good shot over the leg side for 6. That is a good shot. He sort of jumped outside his off stump and taken that off around about middle of the leg, I'd say, and has just swung it short leg side boundary and into the Peter May stand for 6. So Moriarty moves on to 8. Surrey move on to 144 for 7.
Not sure about Josh Davey bowling in the last over. He's been much the most expensive of the Somerset bowlers.
Well, manufactured 6 runs there, Dan Moriarty. 3 balls left of the innings. 144 for 7. I thought par was about 150. So we're 6 runs away from that now. Sorry, third man's being brought up to the edge of the circle, and deep backward square goes out into the sunshine as Josh Davey comes in over the wicket once again to Moriarty's outside his off stump, swing and a miss from Dan Moriarty, and that's into the gloves of Banton.
Taking pace off.
Yeah. Well, I think you'll see a lot of that from the Surrey quicker men tonight as well, and Surrey of course will have their spinners as well. Will Jacks, Dan Moriarty and Gareth Batty. He's been very economical so far in the competition as Gareth Batty. So yeah, very interesting this at the moment, as over the wicket once more then comes Josh Davey to Moriarty, swing and a miss again from Dan Moriarty.
Carbon copy, wouldn't it?
But it was, I think as well, Dan Moriarty was playing that as if it was going to be a good length delivery, and it almost hit Josh Davey on his bootstraps. So it's good bowling from Josh Davey. Sort of come back into this very well as Davey. 9 off this last over, and we have 1 ball to go. 144 for 7. Somerset bowled very nicely this evening of Somerset. I've done the first part of the job very well. As here is Davey. Oh, that'll be a wide, very wide outside the off stump, because again Moriarty sort of jumping across his stumps and he followed him, and that's well taken by Banton. That'll be 1 more to the total. There's still a ball to come. 145 for 7.
Coming very close to the
He'll be all right.
Appointed hour.
I think you have to start that last over at 7:45.
Right, yeah.
If this had been the 19th over, Somerset may have had a problem here, but they started before 1:45 as he's in again. Davey, last ball of the innings, is whipped by Moriarty out towards deep mid-wicket. Will they come back for two? They may as well. Throws in, run out. Gus Atkinson. Green out there does the fielding. That'll be another single though to Atkinson. And it's a good bit of work out there to deep mid-wicket. Moriarty picks up that one run because run out Atkinson coming back for the second. So that'll be 146 for 8 on the board. It'll be 147, Anthony Gibson, for Somerset to win.
Yep, a decent bowling performance from Somerset, albeit on a pitch that is offering certainly the spinners.
So Surrey in the end making 146 for 8 off their 20 overs. Thanks to Mark Church and Anthony Gibson for the commentary of the first innings of this game. But they were 53 for 1 after the power play, Gareth Townsend. So not quite plan executed, was it, in this case?
No, Will Jacks played very well, and it just seemed we lacked any substantial partnerships all the way through the innings. No one really stayed with Will and got the boundary count up, so we kind of nudged it along. Once we lost Jacks, we kind of lost any kind of edge to our batting, but we've got to an okay total. I think it's a little bit under par, and we're going to have to start very well with the ball to put some pressure on Somerset.
Yeah, it seemed a little frustrating. You had Jordan Clark, who had a couple of boundaries early on, well set, 15 off 10, and Rory Burns, nudged it around as he does, and he scored 18 off 19, but it felt like there wasn't, as you say, that punch, and the idea to go hard early on, but you had a platform there with 53 for 1. But let's talk a little bit about Will Jacks. I mean, how much does Surrey rely on him? I mean, he's turning out to be a sparkling young cricketer, isn't he?
Yeah, his innings was an exemplary piece of one-day batting. He started aggressively, he kept measured all the way through. He was very obviously disappointed to get out, getting caught at long off, pretty frustrated with it, but I think his 60 or 40 balls was a pretty good contribution. It was the rest of the kind of batting that kind of let us down a little bit.
A little bit like Essex did just a couple of nights ago against Surrey. They sort of did a Surrey on Surrey, and here at Somerset have bowled 12 overs of spin and some decent performances here. Maxwell 117 off 4, Lewis Goldsworthy not to be sniffed at, 1 for 26 off 4, but what about Jack Leach on his T20 debut, 4 for 28 off 3?
They also got the wickets of Evans and Jack, so
those the run out too. Yeah,
two important wickets. He went for a few boundaries in the power play, but that can happen. I think the three spinners played very well. Waller is a very experienced one-day bowler, and Lewis Goldsworthy, who's quite inexperienced, I thought bowled really well.
Just by the way, if you can hear some noise behind me and you can hear the dulcets of Johnny Barron, our PA here at the Kia Oval, it's because we've got the Kia High Catch underway. You can see it on your screens right now. It's a chance for the crowd who are in here, 4,000 tickets made available for this game at the Kia Oval. Their chance to win a bit of merchandise and some prizes. The tennis balls get catapulted into the sky, and then it's simply a case of catching as many as you can. Prizes offered for 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 successful catches, so you can get home with a nice booty of Surrey merchandise if you have a safe pair of hands. But let me tell you, it is much, much harder when there is a full capacity 25,000 crowd. Not the case today, but hopefully that capacity will increase over time as we make our way through the pandemic. Okay, so Gareth, whilst this is going on behind us, what are the sort of conversations then that are going on? You've made 146 for 8. Somerset will chase 147 to win. What sorts of things are being said? What sorts of conversations are being had as to the approach?
Well, they're not going to panic. I think they'll feel they're very much in the game. They'll bowl to their strengths. They'll make sure that the power play is one where they look to get wickets. Obviously, Banton is a dangerous prospect for Somerset in terms of the amount of runs and the rate he can go at, so I think they'll target him to make sure they keep him quiet, make sure their fielding is as top class as it can be, and just try and squeeze them in that first 6 so they can build some run rate pressure and scoreboard pressure for the rest of the innings.
We know that we're going to be expecting 4 overs from Will Jacks, 4 overs from Dan Moriarty, 4 overs from Gareth Batty, but we did see Josh Davey go for a few runs. His couple of overs went for more than 30, and Will Jacks in particular tucked into him with successive boundaries. So how much pressure is there on the pace bowlers here? The likes of Gus Atkinson, Jordan Clark. We don't expect Jamie Overton necessarily to bowl, but they will need to keep it very tight, won't they?
Yeah, and I think it's about putting the ball in the right place and getting Somerset to hit the ball into the far parts of the boundary, making sure they don't bowl to the short boundary. I think Davies over tended to go a little bit into the wicket and sat up, so they got hit over mid-wicket. So I think the seamers, or our seamers, will need to bowl with the intelligence of having a home venue as their kind of home patch and make sure they take advantage of it.
Apart from Will Jacks, but boundaries were relatively hard to come by for the Surrey batsmen. How do you make that difficult for the Somerset batsmen? How important is the fielding just to save those boundaries, make it a 2 instead? Just to make sure the pressure just continually is on the Somerset batsmen to keep trying to find the boundary road.
Yeah, it's vitally important. I think they had one misfield early on and went through someone's hands for 4, but apart from that I thought Somerset fielded pretty well. You've got to make sure on the larger side of the boundary you're in off the ropes, because you can say there are plenty of 2s out there, and it also depends a little bit on how Somerset approach this. If they go hell for leather and lose early wickets, then they may put themselves under pressure. So I think the first 6 overs are crucial for both sides to set the rest of the innings and how it will kind of open out.
I mean, you mentioned Tom Banton, but what about James Hildreth? You mentioned the 200 up in terms of T20s and appearances. That's a very balanced partnership, isn't it? The experience of Hildreth, the youthful exuberance of Banton. How important to break that up. It's what we saw last time out with Essex. First ball, Hashim Amla is walking back to the pavilion. Then the next over, Will Jacks is walking back to the pavilion. Never got any momentum in that game. Is that partly what this is about as well?
I think so. I think Bantam's innings will unfold a little bit like Jacks's. If you don't get him out, he will kind of cause you damage. Hildreth, I think, will play very much an experienced role and will knock it around and try and kind of anchor the innings and let players play around him, dependent on what the run rate is.
Okay, and in terms of Surrey, I mean, how crucial is this game? Because of course we started off with 3 wins, 2-0 results with those washouts against Sussex and against Hampshire Hawks, then the defeat against Essex. So suddenly it's the downturn in form. You don't want that to continue. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, it's game 7 of 11, so not many left after this. And in fact, a little while till we return to the Kia Oval. We're on the road after this, so it's important, isn't it, to just try and turn the tide again, get the win under the belt, and then get a little bit of breathing space at the top of the South Group.
Yeah, everyone talks about momentum, don't they? And we had it at the start of the tournament. We came a cropper a little bit against Essex, and so this game is vitally important. We got tonight, and then we've got Hampshire on Friday. I think those are 2 pivotal games. If we don't win those games, we're going to put ourselves under an awful amount of pressure in terms of the latter part of the competition.
And the good thing about having a crowd in, and not necessarily a full crowd, but 4,000 fans in, you can hear individual conversations. We've got a very educated, cricket-knowing public here at the Kia Oval, and they will probably be looking at this very much like you have yourself, Gareth, and said, well, look, you're in the game, something to defend, maybe a little under par, but I wonder what kind of role they can play, because when you're out there on the boundary rope, when they really cheering you on to try and save that boundary, if you're the fielding side, that can be a little bit of a factor here, rather than playing in a cavernous, eerie Kia Oval, just where you can really hear the individual shouts of the public.
Yeah, it's not a full sellout, and that's obvious because of all the things that have gone on, but the crowd is large enough to make enough noise and to get the atmosphere going, to put a little bit of pressure and hopefully cheer on Surrey and make sure that when the wickets fall and the dot balls come, that the Somerset batters begin to feel a little bit under pressure.
Okay, so as we mentioned before, Surrey 146 for 8 off their 20 overs, a little bit under par on this pitch in these conditions, but Somerset we're going to have to chase down 147 for victory. Let's return you to our commentary team for Anthony Gibson and Mark Church.
That is 3, 4 and 5 where there's a bit of a question mark against the Somerset batting lineup, particularly on a pitch like this, where I think it will help to have had a little bit of experience. I think in the same way you were talking about the way Will Jacks, when he first came in, he just had a bit of a look at it and picked up the pace of the pitch. He didn't go hard straight away, and I think Somerset are going to need to learn from that.
Well, absolutely. I was going to say, Hildreth and Bantam are 2 brilliant players, but I think it's not going to be that easy going hard straight from the top here. I know that's the way they've played their T20 cricket so far, but I think on this pitch you've got to have a look. And the other thing is the size of the boundaries as well. They are, on one side of the ground is absolutely massive, and if you don't get all of it, you're in trouble. You really are in trouble.
I tell you something that's quite odd, though, is that the pitch here is just about aligned with the middle of the pavilion. So you would expect the boundaries to be more or less equidistant. So presumably the ground has lost.
Yeah, well, I think with the
outfield,
I know
on
for
the,
a fact that with the Peter May stand, because of course the Peter May stand, that's the new Peter May stand from a couple of years ago, that did come in. So they've lost a little bit of ground down there in front of the pavilion in the Peter May stand. So that will be the reason that it's a much longer carry out towards the Harleford Road and Archbishop Tennyson's School.
The straight boundaries aren't as long as they used to be,
no,
are they?
And again, you know, we're sat in what is now the JM Finn stand, which was obviously built for the 2005 Ashes series. Nothing's changed in front of the pavilion, but to the side now on the left with one oval square and that Peter May stand, they have lost a bit of the ground for that. So yeah, definitely lost some surface area with all the sort of redevelopments.
Because in the old days, the Oval must have been the biggest ground in the country, wasn't it?
I think surface area-wise, isn't it Grace Road?
Well, now, but I'm sure the Oval in
probably
in the old
actually,
days.
you know, absolutely. I would have thought you're right, but I think I'm right in saying, am I not, that Grace Road now is? I think in
so.
the world, second biggest surface area in the world now, after is it the MCG? I think Grace Road.
It's not called Grace Road anymore.
No, it's called
the Upton
Steel County Ground, Grace Road. But yeah, so it's interesting, isn't it? I think with all redevelopments and things, you do lose a little bit of the ground. But the boundary for the right-handers, with the bowler coming in from the Vauxhall end off towards the Harleford Road, is a long old carry.
It is, and so it should be. I think you know, I mean, everything is so loaded in the batsman's favour that it's not. I think it's not a good thing that mishits can go for six when they bring the boundaries right in.
Well, the other thing is that, you know, they always talk about playing it like you would in an international. Well, in the internationals, you slap bang in the middle, and they use the entire surface area, don't they? So, if you want to get players ready for playing international T20, then although sometimes some of the boundaries you see in sort of games around the world, you think, dearie me, toothpick could probably hit that for six, to be fair, but there we go. But here we go then. So out come Messrs Hildreth and Banton, and James Hildreth, his 200th T20 game, and all of those for Somerset. What a record that is. It really is fantastic. And 147 to win for Somerset. Surrey in the duck egg blue shirts, Mr. Gibson. And
no, it's not.
It's duck egg blue. It's officially duck egg blue. If you want,
have you ever seen a duck egg that colour?
I have seen it. No, I've seen shirts that colour though. So, well, I've been told that if I go into any well-known DIY store and say I want my kitchen duck egg blue, it will be that colour.
That's almost sky blue.
Duck egg is the official term. Duck egg is the official term. Oh gosh, we're going to get onto wyverns and dragons in a minute if we're not careful, Mr. Gibson. Dearie me. Oh gosh. Ooh, the other thing I've noticed is Jade Dernbach is wearing a rather natty bandana out there as well. I've not seen that before. That's new. A new bandana for Jade Dernbach this evening. So it's all go, and it's going to be Gus Atkinson to bowl the first over from the pavilion end. Do you want to change your ends, Mr. Gibson, or do you want to continue? Lovely.
I'm quite happy with it from the pavilion end. Atkinson's going to be bowling to Tom Banton. Got a slip in, Rory Burns. Here comes Atkinson then to Banton. He's there and bowls, and Banton just drops that into the offside and won't get a run.
From memory, Banton was out in the first over, wasn't he? At Taunton off Sam Curran.
I think he was.
Caught by Gareth Batty at backward point, yes.
Just made the one. Played a rather limp sort of shot, nothing sort of shot.
He's due. He's going to hurt someone at some point, Banton. No doubt whatsoever about that.
Well,
could it be tonight, I wonder? Big crowd, test ground.
Atkinson, right arm over the wicket, and this is turned away into the onside, and they won't get a run. It's a very good stop there.
Oh, he's got a headband on, Jade. It's not a bandana. I thought it was a bandana. He's got a headband on tonight. I've never seen him in a headband before. Yeah, rather natty, isn't it?
It is.
Dark blue goes with the duck egg blue.
It's a bit like he's channeling Tom Curran.
Indeed, yeah.
Atkinson to Banton. Drives slightly uppishly, get away into the offside, and it's not fielded cleanly by Jamie Overton at extra cover, which means that they can steal a single, and Banton is underway, and Somerset are underway. One without loss halfway through the first over.
Yeah, with a man with 200 games now under his belt opening up, and someone who can weigh up conditions pretty quickly, James Hildreth.
He's waiting there now as Atkinson is in and bowls. Oh, and he makes room for himself outside the leg stump, and I think that went over the top of the middle stump.
Yeah, a bit of nip there, wasn't there, for Gus Atkinson. He's got a whippy action, Gus Atkinson. I think he's one of those that batters talk about, you know, he gets onto you quicker than you expect.
19, did you say?
20 now, I think, Gus.
Here he comes again. He's in bowls, and Hildreth is going to take a single this time. This is Batty at mid-on, just a little bit back on his heels. 2 without loss, 1 ball remaining in the first over. 147 is Somerset's target. They're 7th in the South Group at the moment, Somerset, so could do with a win. Atkinson to Banton, who plays that away down to fine leg for 4 runs. Didn't really get hold of it, but got enough bat on it and picked his spot nicely. So 6 without loss at the end of the first over. 5 of those to Banton and 1 to Hildreth.
Yeah, nicely put away by Tom Banton, just on his hip, about around his midriff really, on the top of middle stump, and just swung it leg side and away for 4 runs. Now it's going to be Will Jacks with his off spin from the Vauxhall end of the ground. James Hildreth will be on strike on 1. 6 without loss, then chasing 147 after that first over. Somerset, I think I'm right in saying if Surrey were to win tonight, they go top of the table, actually.
Probably
10 points, I think.
When are you going to get your big stars back in? The Ollie Popes and Jason Roys and
I think
Currans.
Ollie Pope will be available Friday. Well, of course, Tom, Sam and Jason are away now with quite a lot of white ball stuff, aren't they? And then you think Sam will be involved in the Test series against India. Here is Will Jacks, and this is chopped away by Hildreth out towards extra cover. And there's no run, but of course they got Carl Jamieson as well,
of course,
coming in.
So will he be playing on Friday?
I'm not sure. I suppose he could be. As they've just won that Test matches. Oh, reverse sweeping here is Hildreth, hits his pad, rolls away into the leg side, and there's no run.
We're already seeing how difficult it is for the batsman to get the spin away.
We saw it in the Surrey innings. Somerset 6 without loss. Jacks is in again. He's reverse sweeping again. That's turned and gone past the edge of the bat.
There's a wide.
Now I think that's a bit harsh from umpire Bailey. I really do, because that has turned a huge amount. Will Jackson's got a smile on his face, but he's playing a reverse sweep as well.
Exactly. I mean, it went down the leg side, but
a little harsh got the other way. From umpire Bailey, who's now stood in front of Will Jacks. And what are we waiting for here? Umpire Bailey, is he chatting to somebody? What are we waiting for? Why was the signal? It hasn't gone up on the scoreboard, that's why. He's trying to get in touch with the scorers here to let them know he's signalled a wide. Yep, they've got it now. As in comes Jacks again, and this one's hitting the pad, coming down the pitch is Hildreth, trying to work leg side again. That rolls out towards extra cover. There's no run, so even James Hildreth here in his 200th game, he's finding Will Jacks very difficult to get away at the moment, as he's jumping all over the crease here, sweeping, and that one's gone past the top of the leg stump this time, I think. So this is impossible at the moment for James Hildreth. He's tried reverse sweeps, orthodox sweeps. They still haven't put that wide up on the scoreboard yet. Where's he going now? Orthodox sweep straight down to a short fine leg, and there will be no run. Well, fascinating over that. There was a wide in it. It should be 7 without loss on that scoreboard after 2 overs, but other than that, James Hildreth couldn't lay a bat on Will Jacks, could he? 2 gone, and Somerset a 7 without loss.
He tried everything. He tried the reverse sweep, he tried the slog sweep, he tried the orthodox sweep. Nothing worked. It's not easy out there to bat against good spin bowling. We've got another over from young Mr. Atkinson, who's in and bowls to Banton, who hits that straight up in the air, is going to be caught, and is indeed caught by Jay Dernbach. And well, Tom Banton went for the big hit, didn't get hold of it at all, top edge, comfortable catch, 7 for 1.
It's what we were saying. I think going after it in the power play here is going to be really difficult. And he was through that very early, wasn't he? And it just went straight up in the air, and the head-banded Dernbach took a very simple catch, really, but nicely bowled by Gus Atkinson. But yeah, I think it's just not a pitch you can go after it in the power play, really. It's just not coming on. We've seen the spins absolutely critical. And Banton goes for 5, and well, Smeed's out there in the middle now. Joins. They've still got it up on the board as 6 for 1, but there was definitely that wide in that over from umpire Bailey, and he was shouting up to the scorers. But on the scoreboard, it's still 6 for 1. But I think that should be 7 for 1.
Will Smeed, this is his 8th T20 for Somerset. 19 years old from Taunton. Atkinson is in and bowls to him, and he just pushes that into the offside and sets off for a well-judged single, so he is off the mark. Will Jacks picking up at mid-off, 8 for 1.
Yeah, there's some young lads playing in this game, isn't there? Some talent around the place. Yeah, I think that should be 8 for 1 on the scoreboard, but it's still at the moment 7 for 1.
Is Atkinson to Hildreth, down the pitch, gets an inside edge, and very nearly plays on. He's all over the shop at the moment, James Hildreth. He hasn't middled a single shot so far.
You know how much I adore James Hildreth as a cricketer, but if you didn't know James Hildreth was playing his 200th game, you'd think this was his first one at the moment.
Absolutely. Can make nothing of the bowling at the moment. Atkinson to Hildreth is there and bowls, make room for himself. This time he swings it away down to long leg. He advanced down the pitch to Atkinson. Atkinson responded by dropping it in short, and Hildreth responded in turn by hooking it over the top of short fine leg down to the long leg boundary.
It's a gorgeous shot. Just giving himself some room outside that leg stump, and Atkinson's followed him, banged it in, and that's just a swivel really from Hildreth, and whistles off to the boundary rope for his first 4.
Atkinson to Hildreth, and this time he plays that square of the wicket just backward of square, finds the gap between backward point and short third man, and picks up 4 runs. That's much more like the real James Hildreth.
Isn't it funny how one shot can get you going? And that
15 for 1.
Hook off his nose from Atkinson, and then very next ball just backs away, caresses that off through the covers for 4 more. It's on to 9, James Hildreth.
Still no wide's been credited. Very strange. Perhaps he rescinded it. Perhaps he changed his mind. Here's Atkinson to Hildreth, who've taken on the pad, and they go through for a quick single, and good backing up from Will Smeed. And there was a little bit of bat involved there, a little bit of inside edge onto pad. So the end of the 3rd over, 16 for 1.
Yeah, we'll stick with what's on the board then. But I could have sworn umpire Bailey
he did
wide, and then there was a bit of a delay while he tried to get up to the scorers. But We'll stick with what's on the board.
Perhaps he was telling them that he changed his mind.
Maybe he did change his mind. 16 for 1. It did look a harsh call.
Well, it was because Hildreth was reverse sweeping.
Well, Jax now has got 1 over 1 maiden. So maybe he did change his mind.
Yeah, I think
maybe that's what it was. So 16 for 1 we'll stick with. But it did seem a harsh call. Now, Jamie Overton, his second over in the competition this summer. His first over was against Somerset. His second over is going to be against Somerset. Hildreth is on strike on 10, fourth over. And Craig Overton bowled very nicely. Here comes brother Jamie. And this one's turned, first of all, by Hildreth on the toes into the leg side. Rolls in there towards Atkinson at short mid-wicket, and there is no run. So yes, I just wonder whether with that umpire signal wide, and then maybe Jack said, hang on, he's played a reverse sweep and it's spun, and maybe that was, oh actually yeah, I suppose. So, and then they changed it back as Jamie Overton, over the wicket he comes. Hildreth dances around the crease and then gets this ball somehow down to a third man for a single as the throw comes in down there from Geddes, and Hildreth moves on to 11 and Somerset 17 for 1. Just to give you an idea, at the end of the fourth over, Surrey were 23 for 1. So they've lost Banton for a single. Smeed comes on to strike on 1. 2 out at the third man in the deep backward square for Jamie Overton. As over the wicket he comes to the right-handed Smeed. Well bowled, great length. Yeah. And that beats the edge. That's done him for pace as much as anything as well. Yep, lovely bit of bowling from Jamie Overton, and Jamie Smith takes that one off his feet. But good pace from Jamie Overton, great length, that from Jamie Overton.
Good rhythm as well.
Well, he bowled the best spell I've seen him bowl for Surrey in the last championship game against Gloucestershire. And he looked dynamite in his second spell that evening as Jamie Overton's in once again, over the wicket to Smeed. Short ball, Smeed with the uppercut, gets nothing on this. And that's taken off his feet again by Jamie Smith. So working up ahead of steam here is Jamie Overton. A lot of Jamies playing tonight, aren't there? 17 for 1. A lot of Lewises and a lot of Jamies tonight.
Yep.
There'll be someone with a stat, won't there, somewhere? It's the first time there have been 2 Jamies.
Well, we had, in the game against Hampshire, we had 3 Lewises.
3? Well, that can't have happened very often, I wouldn't have thought. 17 for 1. Jamie Overton in over the wicket he comes once again, and that's well bowled, took the pace off this one, and Smeed's looking to work it leg side, hits the pad, rolls away into the offside, and there's no run. And again, it's just showing on here how tricky it is. Yeah. And Smeed early in his T20 career, he's got a bit of time here. Doesn't need to panic at all. Got the experience at the other end. 17 for 1. Target 147 for Somerset. Waits again does the right-handed Smeed as Jamie Overton's in turn. He's picked him up, whipped him leg side for 6. What a shot that is. Well, that's the long boundary, and Rory Burns just watched it go over his head. Wow, those hands and those wrists of Smeed there. And that is just whipped. Bottom hand for 6. Did he not do that into the car park from memory at Taunton as well? 23 for 1. 4 overs have gone.
He went bouncing around amongst the cars towards Priory Bridge Road. And that was a very similar pickup shot. Played it really nicely. 23 for 1 after 4 overs.
Yeah, Jordan Clark into the attack now for Surrey. Yeah, that was a big old carry, that one, into the car park, because it bounced on the concrete.
Yeah, I think Rory Burns thought he was in business.
Yeah, I think he did, and then it just went straight over his head. Yeah, the pickup shot, don't bowl there to him.
Jordan Clark then to James Hildreth. He's there and bowls, and Hildreth swings and misses. Calm down, James, calm down. We need, well, Somerset needs someone to anchor this innings, someone to play the Will Jacks innings, and James Hildreth, who's much the most experienced of this very inexperienced Somerset top order batting.
One of the most elegant players you could ever wish to see.
Yeah. just wafting it around outside the off stump. Here comes Clark again. He's there and bowls. Hildreth. Oh, he plays bowls and most. That's a
no ball.
They're given us a no ball but on height, as Hildreth moved outside the leg stump and Clark followed him. And it's free hit.
Yeah, and Jordan Clark immediately put his hand up to say sorry. I think he was looking for the Yorker and it came out slightly wrong, and Hildreth ended up sitting on the ground.
25 for 1, a free hit as Clark bowls to Hildreth, who plays that away for 6 into the Peter May stand. Picked that one up. It was in the slot from Jordan Clark, but beautifully timed on that occasion by James Hildreth.
It's been the strangest innings this from James Hildreth. It really has. We put that away beautifully. But in between playing and missing, he's played a couple of lovely shots so far.
Yeah. 31 for 1 in the 5th over.
Yeah, we've got to wait for the ball to be sanitised now.
Ridiculous, isn't it?
Because it went into the crowd, so slight delay whilst the ball gets sanitised.
Well, I can tell you that Hungary have taken a 1-0 lead against Germany.
Oh, have they?
Oh,
there you are.
In the Euros.
The ball being sanitised almost sounds like a religious ceremony now, doesn't it?
Just bonkers. Here's Clark to Hildreth, and Hildreth just waits on this and turns it square of the wicket on the onside. 32 for 1, moves on to 18. The 1 is, I'm afraid, for those of you who are of a Somerset persuasion, Tom Banton again, who's having a pretty thin time of it in this year's T20. Clark to Smeed, who plays that, but only as far as backward point. He timed that nicely, did Smeed, looking for the gap. It's more of a, what do you call that, backward point or short third man? It's sort of halfway in between.
Yeah, and Geddes is in there actually, so they've got the young man in there. Important position that. Got around there very quickly.
He did. Nice neat stop. Here's Clark then to Smeed. Drives over the top of the extra cover. He didn't quite time it. There'll be 2 here, I should imagine. The ball's running away down towards the boundary and has gone over the boundary. And
Gus Atkinson lost his trousers
Gus
there.
Atkinson down there, yeah. 4 runs to Smeed. That was a well-judged shot.
He done half-time it well, didn't he? I thought that at Taunton. And that pickup shot we saw earlier, good bit of bat in his hand. Yeah, poor old Gus Atkinson lost his trousers as he dived for the ball.
36 for 1. As Clark bowls to Smeed, who drives that away through. Oh, that was a lovely shot. Beautiful shot through the onside with a straight bat up to the Peter May stand. That's a really classy shot from Will Smeed. 40 for 1 at the end of that over.
Yeah, and it's interesting, the 5th over for both sides, there was 22 off the 5th over when Surrey were batting, and that over there 17. So the 5th over's been expensive in this game. It'll be Jamie Overton to continue down below. So final over of the power play. After 6, Surrey were 53 for 1. After 6 in the power play, it's when Will Jacks was doing all the scoring, but Smeed looking in gorgeous touch out there at the moment. So Jamie Overton with the 6th over from the Vauxhall end, coming in over the wicket to Hildreth, who's dancing around the crease and then drives beautifully through the covers for 4. It's a typical Hildreth shot that just moves across the crease, followed by Jamie Overton, and then that lovely flow of the bat through the covers. Whistles off to the rope for 4. He's on to 22 now. Key man here, Hildreth. 44 for 1.
Yes, he's dictating terms to the bowlers at the moment, moving outside his leg stump. Bowlers are following him, but
he's
Hildreth's making enough room for himself to play his shots.
He's a wonderful batsman, James Hildreth, in all forms of the game. He really is, as he waits once more. Right-handed, of course. He's outside his leg stump again, and there are those hands and he just helps it through the covers as Jamie Overton follows him. Now he's getting to grips with the pace of the pitch. Hildreth, he's on to 26. That's more like James Hildreth, 48 for 1.
Yeah, 2 lovely shots through the offside.
Makes it look very simple, James Hildreth. There's no big back lift. There's just moves outside that leg stump, wait, and then hands. And they're going to have to get a sweeper out now. So third man has to come up to the edge of the circle. This is the final over of the power play, so there's no third man now. Down on the boundary rope, Jamie Overton is in, and this is tucked off his hip by Hildreth. It's going to go past Gareth Batty on the edge of the circle at fine leg and away for 4 more. So 3 consecutive boundaries here for James Hildreth. He's suddenly on to 30, and it's 52 for 1. And as we were saying with Will Jacks, it takes a little bit of time just to get in, get used to the pace of the pitch on here. But now Hildreth goes boundary. 50 is up for Somerset, same over as Surrey's 50 came up, and it's like for like at the moment. It really is, as Hildreth waits once again. 4th ball of this, the 6th over from Jamie Overton. He's into Hildreth. Hildreth backs away, follows him into the leg side. Smead's got to be quick. If that hits, he's gone. Atkinson with the throw. Smead wasn't even in the picture, I don't think, if that had hit, but it didn't. And they're through for a single, and in the end it's pretty well judged. 53 for 1.
It was not well judged. It was an appalling single.
He's not out. He's not out.
I don't know what Jamie... Look, he's just gone down to apologise, as well he might. It was Hildreth's call. He called his partner through, and well...
It was an awful single. It was a horrible single. But the key thing is, Gus Atkinson missed, so it's very well judged. As Smead on 15... waits for Jamie Overton. 2 back on that leg side rope, way down the leg side. This will be wide signalled. So they've got the 2 back for that pickup, and Jamie Overton there could have gone again, actually. It was right in the slot, really, for that pickup shot. But didn't get anything on it this time, Smead. And taken by Jamie Smith. So still 2 to come in this over from Jamie Overton. 54 for 1. Somerset, as Overton down below us. Turns once more, and then comes striding in over the wicket to the right-handed Smead. Slower one this time. Hits the pads of Smead. He's lost it as it goes down onto the turf. Almost spun back towards his stumps there, and he's looking for the ball, but it actually stopped dead down by his feet, and there is no run. So entertaining over this. Expensive, but entertaining. 14 off it from Jamie Overton, and now swinging his arms is Gareth Batty. It looks like the Surrey skipper is bringing himself into the attack next over. As over the wicket comes Overton, and this is, he's got away with that on the hip of Smead, looking to flick it again, and it rolls down to Gareth Batty. End of the over, so power play is done and dusted now. Surrey, for those of a detective's persuasion, Surrey were 53 for 1, Anthony Gibson.
They were.
Somerset are 54 for 1.
Indeed. So Somerset are
ahead by 1.
That was a good comeback there from Jamie Overton. He went for 3 fours off his first 3 balls, and then the non-existent single, and then 2 dot balls to finish the over. So
yeah, the reason I said it was well judged is obviously the ball didn't hit the stump. It was a horrible single. If I was Smead, I wouldn't have gone anywhere. Even though it's Hildreth in his 200th game, I would have said, excuse me, James, really? But Smead wasn't even in the races. But in the end, it's another single, isn't it, for Mr. Hildreth?
We had a break from the rumbling for those of you listening on DAB. Is this Mr. Moriarty?
It is indeed, with his left arm spin.
He's bowling to Hildreth, who looking for a single as he hits that hard into the ground, which certainly wasn't there. Getting a little bit carried away. James Hildreth just needs to. Somerset got 14 overs in which to score. This is a reverse sweep, and there's an appeal for LBW, which is given not out, and they steal a leg by.
Yeah, it was a concerted appeal, that from Dan Moriarty. I don't think he was ever getting it, but yeah, James Hildreth there pulling out the reverse sweep to Dan Moriarty. Didn't get any bat on it.
Moriarty then to Smeed. He's in and bowls. Smeed swings that down to long leg. That'll be 4 runs. Not really. It was more of a slog sweep than a conventional sweep. It probably came off the bottom edge, and it's the 50 partnership between Smeed and Hildreth. They came together in the 3rd over, and we're now in the 7th, so decent rate of progress. Moriarty to Smeed, full of length, and just turned.
It's a lovely ball, that, isn't it?
It was.
It's beating the outside edge.
I thought it bowled him for a moment.
Yeah, it's bounce and turn from Dan Moriarty. Even up by
Neil Bainton's
laughing at that delivery.
Here comes Moriarty again, and Smeed gets a leading edge out into the offside.
Grip, isn't it? That's the thing now. We saw it with Leach as well. There's just that grip, so you get through it quite early. Smeed there at almost leading edge, caught at cover.
Moriarty again, and Smeed goes for a big swing, misses. Big appeal for LBW from Moriarty, but Neil Bainton shakes his head. But I think we saw in that over how difficult it is to score runs quickly against class spin bowling, and Dan Moriarty very definitely a class slow left armer. 59 for 1 at the end of the 7th.
Yeah, 5 off that first Moriarty over, so a very tidy first over from Dan Moriarty. Of course, his record in the Championship, Moriarty's, is outstanding in the games that he's played. Made his T20 debut last year for Surrey, played every game for Surrey last year. Gareth Batty is into the attack to bowl the 8th over to James Hildreth. These two have done battle a few times, and Hildreth just pushes this one down to short third man, and they'll pick up a single, and Hildreth will move on to 32.
6.7 is the required rate at the moment.
6.7. 60 for 1. As Batty into Smeed. Smeed pushes this ball back up the pitch. Batty does the fielding off his own bowling, and there's no run. Yep, so Moriarty was the leading wicket taker for Surrey last year in the T20 with 17 wickets. Batty's been so economical this season for Surrey as he bounces in once again, and this is swung into the leg side by Smeed all along the floor out towards Jamie Overton. They'll take a single. Smeed moves on to 20. So another 86 required by Somerset. Over the wicket again goes Batty, and Hildreth across his stumps, nudges leg side. Gus Atkinson tumbles to his right to do the fielding. Rate required 6.97. Rate at the moment 7.96. Anthony Gibson's amazed by my maths there. As in over the wicket again comes Batty, and this one's pulled behind square on the leg side. Out there to Rory Burns, who does the fielding, and the throw comes in. One bounce over the top of the stumps.
You missed out there, Hildreth. He could have hit that almost anywhere.
62 for 1. Last ball of this, the Batty over, the 8th. Batty bounces in again with his off breaks. Tosses this one up. Smeed, little inside edge, trying to flick leg side. It potters down to Jade Dern back on the edge of the circle at fine leg. Very good first over from Gareth Batty again. As I say, he's been very economical so far in the competition. Just 3 runs off the over, 8 gone. 62 for 1 for those of a detective's persuasion. After 8 overs, Surrey was 65 for 2.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I see.
Well, I think this could be a close finish. Moriarty to bowl another over. Just went for 4 in his first. He's there in bowls. And this is lofted away high and handsome into the Peter May stand for 6.
Well caught, sir, in the crowd.
Yeah.
Excellent. We're now going to have to sanitise the ball, mind you, but well caught, sir.
Yeah, it was a fine swing of the bat from James Hildreth.
Made a lovely noise, didn't it?
39, he moves on to his highest score of the season in T20 cricket. This is a reverse sweep, and he's almost caught at backward point. No, it would be, yes, backward point. I was right first time by Will Jacks. but couldn't quite get his left hand on it.
Yeah, just out of his reach, wasn't it? In there, and stuck a arm out. A long arm out, not alarm, a long arm.
10 runs off the last 2 balls. Moriarty bowls again to Hildreth, who makes room for himself. And again, turn and bounce from Moriarty, making it very difficult for Hildreth. He's on 43. Moriarty bowls, reverse sweep, and this is going to bring him just a single. It's a good stop this time by Will Jacks from backward point. He moves on to 44, 73 for 1, so just about halfway there. 73 scored, 74 needed. Moriarty bowls. Smeed just lost this nice, that was a good chip shot into the offside as the ball bounced and turned, and a rare misfield from Jamie Overton out near the cover boundary. 77 for 1.
He adjusted very well there.
75 for 1, I beg your pardon.
Smeed adjusted well to that shot.
He did. Moriarty bowls to Smeed again, who goes for a big swing, this time doesn't get hold of it at all. It just runs down to short fine leg to get his for not for a single. End of the over. 75 for 1.
And require a further 72 runs to win off 11 overs.
And there, Portugal are beating France 1-0. Cristiano Ronaldo. There you are.
Well, there you are, Ray. So 72 required off 11. Somerset 75 for 1.
6.5 runs over, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty good. 6.55. Rate
Well,
8.33 at the moment, Mr. Gibson. It's good, my maths, isn't it?
Very good.
Thanks.
Change bowling.
As Will Jacks from the Vauxhall end. So 10th over. So we'll be halfway after 10. Surrey was 75, so they're ahead. As here is Jacks then, and sweeping, reverse sweeping is Hildreth. Out towards the sweeper on the cover rope, which is Laurie Evans. And they'll take a single. And Hildreth moves on to 45, 76 for 1.
Yeah, he wasn't quite so frenetic there, Hildreth. He just waited for that. And all right, he played the reverse sweep, but he placed it.
Yeah,
he settled for the single rather than going for broke.
It's been an interesting innings, this, from James Hildreth thus far, as Smeed waits for Jacks, hits the pad, rolls away into the leg side as he looks to work leg side. A little bit of turn again there for Will Jacks, led by the signal from umpire Bailey. One more to the total, 77 for 1. Somerset, that target for them, 147. As Hildreth's dancing around the crease again, and this time trying to sweep once more, but I think he did get a bit of bat this time onto pad, and yep, picks up another single, moves on to 46.
It was Will Jacks who tied Hildreth up in knots in the
first over,
wasn't it?
78 for 1. Smeed, short ball, pulls this like a rocket out towards deep mid-wicket for 4. Jamie Overton did his level best to get round to that, but I tell you what, Smeed doesn't half-time it. That has whistled away for 4. And he's on to 26. It's 82 for 1. That's the long boundary. And Jamie Overton did his level best to get round to that. But it was travelling off the bat of Smeed again. Good innings this from Smeed as Jacks is in. And that one now, has he got a bit of inside edge on that onto pad? They've gone for the court behind as it looped in the air. But nope, just off the pad. But again, it's that turn from Will Jacks. And Jamie Smith came out from behind the stumps. But Smeed in a way has taken a bit of the pressure off Hildreth here by the way he's played, as Jacks is into him, and this one little inside edge looking to drive is Smeed, thick inside edge onto that front pad, rolls away. So that's the halfway point, no run off that final ball of the over. So Somerset are ahead of Surrey after 10. Surrey was 75 for 2, 75 for 2, yes, and Somerset are 82 for 1.
Needing another 65 in 10 overs, 6.5 runs. And over, a very good partnership. They've added 76 in 8 overs. One ball less than 8 overs. Who've we got coming back into the attack? Or it's Jay Dernbach for his first over from the pavilion end. He's bowling to Hildreth, who's looking for a single that isn't there, as he plays that down to short fine leg. Well, these two can, if they've got any sense, just knock the good balls around for ones and twos. Pick up the odd boundary here and there. 6.5 runs and over 10 overs. There's Dernbach in bowls. Hildreth reaches for that, and I think that is going to be cut off by Jamie Overton out on the deep extra cover boundary. It was lofted away over extra cover by James Hildreth. 2 more runs. 84 for 1. Hildreth on to
48.
48, yeah. Dernbach is in and bowls to him, and he just works this around into the onside. They'll think about a second run, but it's not there. 85 for 1. Hildreth moves on to 49. That was short from Dernbach.
I've had it confirmed by one of the greats. Mr. Mark Stoneman has confirmed to me that wide was cancelled.
It was cancelled.
Yes.
There you are.
Yeah, I see.
Quite right too. Dernbach to Smeed. Smeed lost that away. That's a terrific hit. He really, one kicks the ball to the other. Oh, it's the, what did Boris Johnson call it? Natural vector of infection.
Yes, that wasn't. Well, yes. You can almost. You just have to listen to the noise off Smeed's bat, don't you?
Yeah.
And you know it's going for 4. You can laugh, give it a wallop, times it beautifully.
89 for 1. Dernbach bowls, and this has gone for 6, I think. The fielder out there does his level best, but it's the shorter boundary on that side of the ground. So 4 and then a 6 from Will Smeed. He loves that pickup shot and plays it really well. Is that young Geddes out there?
It is, and he was going to try and do one of those clever bits of fielding where they sort of dive back behind the rope and flick it back, but he knew it was going beyond him, and yet again, just off the sound off the bat, you knew it was going a long way.
95 for 1. Dernbach's gone for 4 and 6. He bowls to Smeed, who waits on that and plays that away for 6 more. Didn't seem to me to time that quite as well as the other two, but it went the distance, and that's the 100 up for Somerset. 101 for 1 after 11 overs. So they need another 46 in 9 overs.
Yeah, big over that, 19 off that over. That does change things. But Smeed here has played a beautiful hand, and as I say, it's taken a bit of the pressure off Hildreth, because Hildreth has just been able to go about his business. And Smeed 42 now of 26 balls with 5 4s and 3 6s. So very fine innings this from Will Smeed, as Will Jacks continues from the Vauxhall end. Reverse sweeping is Hildreth, and I don't think he's got hold of one of them yet, and it hits the pad, rolls away into the offside.
Just the one where he took a bit of pace off.
Yeah, 101 for 1. He's not found Jacks easy tonight, as Jacks is into him, and again he starts dancing around the crease and then paddle sweeps very nicely down towards fine leg for 4 to bring up his 50. Good innings this from James Hildreth. 200th game of T20 cricket, and brings up his 50, does James Hildreth. And he's had his moments, but the key thing is he's still there, and he's 53 not out, 105 for 1. I think that's 37 deliveries, 7 4s and 2 6s. As reverse sweeping now is Hildreth, and away for 4 more, and Hildreth moves on to 57. Terrific stuff this from James Hildreth. I've enjoyed this from James Hildreth tonight. 109 for 1. Hildreth's on to 57. The 100 partnership is up as well between these two. 103. And, well, at the moment, they are flying. Messrs Smeed and Hildreth. As round the wicket again comes Will Jacks. Reverse sweeps again, hits the front pad. And do you know what? They won't get a run. If I was Mr Hildreth, not for me to give him any advice, I wouldn't bother with the reverse sweep. He's only hit one tonight. 109 for one. As round the wicket again goes Will Jackson. This time he's just, oh no, he's off for another mad single, and Atkinson with the throw. And this time Smeed did sit on his bat and say, James, no. And Hildreth dived full length, but he was home as the throw came in. 109 for one. So Smeed the first time went for the single. Second time, even though it's James Hildreth in his 200th T20, he wasn't going anywhere, Smeed. Hildreth will just work this one down towards short fine leg, and there'll be no run again at the end of the over. So Hildreth 57, Smeed 42. Fantastic partnership of 103. 109 for one, Somerset. After 12, just 38 more required.
In 8 overs, so less than 5 and over. But,
Change bowling at the pavilion end. Dan Moriarty.
They don't want to lose wickets, Somerset, because we've been saying all evening it's not the easiest pitch in the world to play shots on. Moriarty's coming back into the attack from the pavilion end, and Smeed won't get a single as he plays it just to the right, and the bowler himself.
Yeah, I'm sure retrieves. In that Somerset dressing room they're thinking, we don't want to come out here now, exactly. You two do the job.
Moriarty to Smeed. He goes for the big shot and misses. Unfortunately for him, the ball misses the stumps, and Jamie Smith takes the bails off, but Smeed's back foot firmly anchored. He's going for that big slog sweep into the Peter May stand. So 2 dot balls. No cause for alarm for Somerset as they've got the rate down to around about 5 runs and over. And this is in the air and caught off a leading edge. That is the end of Will Smeed. It's Gus Atkinson taking the simplest of catches at extra cover.
Will Smeed, caught by Gus Atkinson.
But well batted Will Smeed. He made 42 from 29 deliveries with 5 fours and 3 sixes.
Yeah, very good innings that from Will Smeed. Surrey will sort of say to themselves now, right, Smeed's gone. This is not going to be an easy start for Goldsworthy. So with Hildreth there, of course, still very much in control of all of this. Oh, Mr. Hildreth's had a haircut as well, I've just noticed on the live stream. That's disappointing. 109 for 2.
Well, you know, yeah, this is neither ones and twos. It's the occasional boundary, but they need Hildreth to stay there.
Batty's in to Hildreth. Hildreth turns leg side, takes the single. Sensible stuff from James Hildreth. He'll move on to 59. Well, singles off every ball will do it for them at the moment. 112 for 2, Somerset. 35 more required. 14th over, Batty into Goldsworthy. Oh, bowled him! Goldsworthy's looked to pull, and this is what we're saying. It's not easy when you first get out there. Just skidded on, and I think hit the bat pad and then gone on to the leg stump, and that's the 150th T20 wicket for Gareth Batty. So Gareth Batty, 150 T20 wickets, and Lewis Goldsworthy, spun sharply back at him, hit that bat pad, hit the leg stump. Goldsworthy goes for 1, 112 for 3.
Yeah, good bowling. Just a little bit of bite and turn. Goldsworthy threw the shot a bit early, and another batsman who's looking for form, Tom Lammonby. His first T20 appearance of the season. And 3 successive ducks in the Championship earlier in the season. Got 70 against Leicester, but that's really been his only worthwhile contribution, and lost his place in the red ball side.
Batty then coming in round the wicket. Lammonby, reverse sweeps for 4 first up. What's the problem, everybody? It's really difficult when you first get out there on this pitch, and Lammonby just reverse sweep for 4. 116 for 3.
Yeah, these The young batsmen, they're fearless, aren't they?
Well, there you go. There's a really difficult when you first get out there. Got to get in. You got to first sweep, 4 runs. We'll get started with that. 116 for 3 as helicopter flies over the pavilion as Gareth Batty with the slip in comes in again. He's doing him again. Lammonby reverse sweep for 4 more. Past the slip this time. And that whistles off to the boundary rope for 4. So Lammonby has walked out. Lara gone reverse sweep 4, reverse sweep 4. Gareth Batty with the wicket at Goldsworthy is 150th. 14 gone. 120 for 3. 27 more required by Somerset.
27 in, what have we got? 36 deliveries with 7 wickets in hand. Well, they really ought to do it from here, Somerset. Apologies for the rumbling if you're listening to us on BBC Radio Somerset DAB. Moriarty's going to bowl another over from the pavilion end. Hildreth plays that away just for a single out to Jamie Overton on the cover boundary. I think Hildreth has settled for just keeping the score ticking over. 121.
The way I describe those first 2 shots from Lammonby, proverbials as big as a house, is the way I describe that. Walking out there and playing 2 reverse sweeps for 4.
Well, he's got Moriarty to cope with now, who's in his 4th over, 1 for 18 so far. Just bowled a wicket maiden. He's looked a class act, I must say, Dan Moriarty. He's in bowling to Lammonby. He doesn't bowl to Lammonby. I think he was waiting to see if Lammonby set up for the reverse sweep, which Lammonby didn't. Just kept the conventional stance, but he's obviously sown seeds of doubt in the bowlers' minds. As Lammonby, here comes Moriarty, bowls to him, and he sweeps conventionally this time and will pick up a single. And in fact, they're going to come back for the second on the throw. They'll have to be quick, and he is quick, and he gets home, and that was well run. 2 runs, 123 for 3 in the 15th over. 147 is the target for Somerset. Moriarty to Lammonby. Again he sweeps, and this time there will just be the single as the throw comes in from Will Jacks. Not a particularly good throw, but he got the ball in the air.
He's got a good broom, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Lammonby.
He has. 124 for 3. 23 more Somerset need. James Hildreth on 60. Waits for Moriarty. And again picks up a single into the offside. This is sensible batting by, well, both of them in this over. 125 for 3.
Yeah, and again, I think as Lammonby's come out and just gone sweep 4, sweep 4, sweep 2, sweep 1. Again, all the pressure's come off Hildreth. He can just knock it around.
Moriarty to Lammonby. Gets a full toss and drives it away through the onside. It'll just be a single. As Jamie Overton is onto it, they think about a second run, but wisely decide against it. 126 for 3. 21 more needed. He's looking in good touches, Tom Lammonby. Moriarty bowls. He'll just steals a single this time into the offside. Tip and run. Gets home comfortably enough. So 7 runs, I think, off that over. 5 singles and a 2. 127 for 3 at the end of it, the end of the 15th. So 5 overs remain and just 20 more runs Somerset need with 7 wickets in hand, and if they lose it from here they will never forgive themselves.
Dan Moriarty, 4 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 24, so bowled very nicely tonight. So Hildreth 62 not out. Gareth Batty 4 and over required from here for Somerset as Batty is into Hildreth, and Hildreth just nudges leg side. Won't get a single this time. This is the start of the 16th over as Gus Atkinson goes scampering around to do the fielding.
France have equalised.
Have they really?
They have. Don't know who the score is. Benzema.
Pogba has He's the only one I know. His forward goes. Hildreth turns this one into the leg side because Norris, he's the goalkeeper. So it'd be something spectacular if that had happened. 128. Zidane's not playing anymore, is he?
No.
12.
He was managing Real Madrid.
That's right, yeah.
He's given it up though.
There's Lammonby on 12. Round the wicket comes Batty to him. Oh, he's sweeping down towards short fire leg, and he'll pick up a single. He's going to come back for two, is he? With the dive. Yes, he's back. Well, I thought it was direct hit, but he's back with the throw from Moriarty. It's good running from Lammonby. Moriarty dived away to his right, and on the pickup, he turned and came flying back for the second. And Lammonby, he is, well, just come out here with us, well, me, really saying, oh, it's difficult to get start here, and has just looked in no bother whatsoever. He's 14 off 6 here. Lammonby, lovely stuff from him. 130 for 3, 17 more required as Batty is in. Lammonby backs away, cuts, doesn't time this. That rolls out to Jamie Overton, does the fielding. Moving round to his left-hand side. Waits again, there's the left-handed Lammonby is. Round the wicket comes Gareth Batty to him. Oh, reverse sweeping again. This time he's got it just over Jay Dernbach and away for 4. Dernbach came round to his right and then hung in the air, and it's gone over Jay Dernbach and away for 4 more. And Lammonby is playing a little gem here. He's on to 18, and it's 134 for 3.
Yeah, just a little bit of a top edge there, but just got enough of it.
To say that this is a gem of an innings at this stage, is this time he just nudges leg side. Round comes Jamie Smith.
Well, if Somerset do win, they'll move on to 6 points, and they've got a better net run rate than Glamorgan, so they will be 5th after Gloucester, and this is in the air and just bounces for 3.
Yeah, just 8 needed now. And this will leave Surrey on 8 points, I think.
Somerset will move up to 5th, and Surrey will stay in 3rd. Atkinson, he won't get a run. End of the over. And 139 for 3. Somerset needing just 8 more runs with 3 overs in which to get them.
Well, it's the first time I've stood up this evening, and I didn't realise that the Somerset players are sat on chairs down by the boundary rope there, down below us, because they change in the JM Finn stand. They're at this end of the ground, so the Vauxhall end, so they're sat down there, and they'll be pretty happy with this evening. I would have thought Somerset, they've been good for this tonight, they really have. And Jamie Overton needs to do something pretty spectacular against his former county here. From the Vauxhall end, Lammonby the man on strike on 28 required by Somerset. As Jamie Overton's in, and Lammonby cuts firmly out towards Rory Burns, sweeping on that cover point rope, and they'll pick up a single. And Lammonby moves on to 21, 140 for 3, so just the 7 more required by Somerset. Big wicket tonight, Will Jacks. When he went for 65, Somerset reined it all back in. At that point, it was 103 for 4 in the 14th over, Surrey. Jacks went, and he kept them down to 146 as Hildreth waits for Jamie Overton. Short ball, and he'll just tuck this one off his hip down towards deep backward square. And they will pick up a single. That'll be 1 more to the total, and 1 more to James Hildreth. He moves on to 21.
Well, I did say that Somerset needed an innings like the one that Will Jacks played, and that James Hildreth was the man to play it, and that's exactly what he's done.
He's played beautifully. He really has. He's had his moments at the start. He got it all worked out. Absolute class, James Hildreth. As over the wicket comes Overton. This is swung by Lammonby back up the pitch. Overton gets a hand to it. They're going to come back for us. 2 overs to go here on BBC Radio Somerset DAB and BBC Radio London, and just 4 required by Somerset. Hildreth 67, Lammerby 22. They're 143 for 3.
Yep, and well, it will be a good win for Somerset. Always good performance to beat Surrey here at the Oval. Somerset have had much the worst of it over the 20 times that these two sides have met. It's a new over, and that's swung away out to straight mid-wicket just for a single. 144 for 3.
Yeah, I think I'm right in saying this will only be Somerset's second win in T20 here. Only won once before, I think.
Surrey have won 11 of the 20. Somerset 5, and 4 matches have been abandoned. Here's Atkinson to Lammerby, 3 required. Lammerby plays that away, getting them in singles, and Rory Burns will field down in front of the older of it, scores the winning run. He's on 68 at the moment. He's played quite superbly on a difficult pitch. Atkinson bowls to Hildreth, who drives and won't get a run as it's well fielded at backward point by Will Jacks.
Yeah, it's just the experience of Hildreth, really, with the 200th game. But he's just class. He really is class. But I think you know, Lammerby, crucial little innings this, and Smeed as well.
Well, still the 2 runs needed. Long leg going back. Jamie Overton being sent back. Here comes Atkinson. Somerset need 2. Hildreth runs that down to the 3rd man boundary for 4 runs, and Somerset have won. They've beaten Surrey here at the Oval in the Vitality Blast by 7 wickets with an over and 2 balls to spare. James Hildreth, the hero of the hour, finishing 72 not out from 59 deliveries with 10 fours and 2 sixes in his 200th T20 game for Somerset. What an evening for Hildreth, what an evening for Somerset, and they're right back in contention in the South Group.
Yeah, well played, James Hildreth. 72 not out in his 200th appearance for Somerset in T20 cricket, and as I say, pure class, James Hildreth. Surrey will look back at that, not enough runs on the board, and Somerset have knocked those runs down again in a very nice fashion from Somerset. Surrey, a little bit to think about now. 2 straight defeats in the T20, Essex and now Somerset. And next up on Friday night, Middlesex come here, but well played, Somerset. Very fine performance that from Somerset, thoroughly deserving that win by 7 wickets tonight.
And just to
many thanks to Anthony Gibson and Mark Church on commentary there. But yes, I'm afraid it is another Surrey defeat, back-to-back losses now after losing to Essex by 7 wickets, as in the end it was a relatively comfortable run chase for Somerset, reaching their target of 147 with 9 balls to spare. Gareth Townsend, Surrey's Academy Director, is alongside me once again. So what did Somerset get so right that Surrey couldn't quite manage when they were batting?
Well, I think we're a little bit light in our innings, probably 15-20 runs short. We started well with Banton's dismissal, which we talked about as an important wicket, but we never really got any control after that. Hildreth settled, having got a little bit of a slow start, but once he got going, took command of the innings, and we couldn't really at either end put any control on the run rate. So him and Smeed developed it very well, and I thought in the end Somerset were comfortable winners. Yeah,
a partnership of 103 off 10.2 overs between James Hildreth and Will Smeed. In terms of Surrey's bowling, I mean, Jay Dernbach is still returning from obviously long-term injury and has just been rebuilding fitness. I suppose good to see Gus Axter back. The spinners did okay. What would you assess that?
Well, Jacks started well. I thought Jacks bowled well. Atkinson on debut bowled very well. I think without making excuses, we were missing 1 or 2 of our top quality seamers that are normally a Topley's being missed. Obviously no Currans, and what it means is the players coming in are not quite where they need to be in terms of hitting the lengths and get, as we talked about, getting the Somerset batters to hit the ball in the areas with the longer boundaries, and obviously we didn't do that today, so we just struggled to have any form of control throughout the innings.
It just makes you go back to the two washouts, the game against Sussex where we only saw 5 overs, and then against Hampshire we didn't see a single ball. And we had Sam Curran and we had Tom Curran, we had Jason Roy for those games, and we weren't able to see their experience, their talent. Could that be pivotal in terms of the outcome of the group, because they were opportunities for Surrey to pick up more points and continue the momentum?
Well, it's definitely the case that those 2 games would have been potentially 2 big wins for us if we played to how we were playing. But I mean, Alex Stewart and Vikram will know that, and they won't want to make any excuses. They will know that this team that they've got now, with the possible return of Pope soon, and obviously with players coming back in, they'll have to work out with the remaining games how to get ourselves back on track. But we're a little bit light in the batting all the way through, which we spoke about, and that then puts the pressure on the bowling attack really to kind of exert control on a total that's not easy to defend.
It just goes to show how quickly things can change in T20. 3 wins to start the group, then just unlucky with a bit of rain, and then a couple of defeats and essentially winless in 4. And now, Surrey are still 3rd in the South Group. That net run rate has come down a fair bit, though, since our last win over Glamorgan only a week or 7-8 days ago. Now Somerset are up to 5th, 2 points off Surrey, and with a game in hand, it seems like we're being dragged into a little bit of a bum fight right now. Very
much so, and this group has always historically been very tight, and I think that 3rd and 4th place qualification spot is going to be fought for by about 5 or 6 teams. Kent are going well at the moment. Surrey need to obviously come back here on Friday and play well to get a result, because if we lose our next game, then we're put on pressure ourselves. Yeah,
but it's not just Surrey who've going through a little bit of a rut right now, but also Kent have lost a couple of games, and they were top, and then they were lost to Gloucestershire. They've also lost to our opponents here tonight, Somerset. So as you say, it's an incredibly congested group. But what positives can they take from this game, Surrey, heading into that London derby back here at the Kia Oval in a couple of days' time?
Jax is playing well, is in good form. We know the type of cricket we want to play in terms of our spinners, with our 3 spinners. We have the return of Pope. Geddes has shown some form, even though not so tonight.
Kyle Jamieson we should probably mention as well, because of course he is now an ICC World Test champion with New Zealand, having beaten India today. So I mean, that must be a big boost as he comes into the squad at the Kia Oval.
Yeah, and having watched him in that Test match, he looks an outstanding prospect. He's played brilliantly so far in his short career, so he will add confidence and give us a lift when we probably most need it, and be most welcome for him to come into the squad as soon as possible.
Well, as you rightly say, Gareth, it is Middlesex in a couple of days' time here at the Kia Oval. After that, another big game as Surrey head to Hove to take on the Sussex Sharks. So hopefully an opportunity with these games coming thick and fast for Surrey to get back on the horse and reverse the trend at the moment and get another couple of wins, and to see if they can maybe get themselves into that top 4, remain in the top 4, and maybe even a home quarter final. As we say, very congested group, so get a bit of momentum, anything can happen. So next game here, a couple of days' time against Middlesex, but for now, from me and Gareth Townsend, it's a very good evening.